We have a quorum now.
Yes.
Maybe.
Good. We have a quorum.
Yeah, 7:15.
Carl, can you hear us?
Oh.
I think we'll.
Yes.
We got a quorum.
Yep. Damon said that he would be showing up a little later.
Yeah.
It's already started.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So we fixed, we cleaned up the site. We took the buildings, not only, required, they were built. So we did parking lot, we got, rubber connections. Oh, yeah. So, you got, Carl's on the cable.
Oh, wow.
Nonprofit Saturdays. No, it's right there, it's right off of 16. Oh, yeah.
Is anybody here to present for regarding Muddy Brook?
Yeah.
Oh, you're presenting?
Yes, correct.
Say you want to check.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, he's doing very nice. There was a little thing on Facebook about this.
I saw this little
It's
stuff.
their protocol.
Yeah.
Carries been long.
I saw that.
No, thank you. I mean, what's our? Well, it's like the new. It's gotta be someone who's been there.
Yeah.
But then it's whoever wants it.
We never
take turns.
We never had protocol, actually.
No, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but, you know.
I saw that.
Yeah. I mean, if, maybe we should talk about it.
I'm not talking about consensus, right? It was vote, and so nowadays, we don't have majority.
I mean,
And it's how the word works, you know? Whether you work by consensus or no. Okay, we're not really, you know,
Yes, you did.
Probably do it every year.
We should. I don't think we can. How much close to one?
But.
Hey, Carl, you have any interest in serving as chair if we have a discussion that should be on a future agenda as to who our chair should be?
Yes, we should. I've been thinking about that today. And when we have a discussion, I will come to a meeting in person and we'll discuss.
Okay, sounds good. Let's put that on future agenda. Let's put it on. We have. In July, what's the name?
We gotta discuss some, policy.
Yeah, so I can only, reading from. If you were about it, would it be able to?
Although we did commit to this.
Yeah. Oh, she didn't.
Hurry. That's what we just started filming.
Oh, they.
Guys.
We just talking. She did our sidewalk.
Meeting,
No, not yet. Why not?
We should introduce.
We should do a roll call.
Yeah.
And just informational, Sue stood up and taking the minutes, right? Was it going out the meeting last time that we should take turns?
Well, we,
Trying to capture
I
all
think we
minutes?
need to talk about that after.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. I did last week, so I just have to edit some stuff and I'll get it up. And I did find some that Emily made for February, March, and April, so we'll get those on the site.
So, let's open the meeting at 7:10. We have several items on the agenda tonight. Very,
Are you ready to talk about beaver control maybe?
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
all these. I've been advertising. So
For
we're
Oxford
continuing.
Road.
Yep, they found that. Yep. The other ones are continuations.
Okay, so we don't have any meeting minutes to review, but we will.
All right,
At the next meeting.
fine.
Kind of, work on that, getting that straightened out, we'll have discussion as to how to move forward. with that. It's gonna take turns.
Could I ask, does anybody know the status of our clerk or are we looking for someone?
Did
or-
Damon, you know the status, and he said he was gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're going to start one late.
So, first public hearing at 7:15. So,
5 more minutes.
so, I don't know if, the,
I think we,
Beaver Dam, if,
we could do it because a lot of work has been done. I think Carl's in and just we've gotten some money I've heard from some foundation to help pay for it. So I think Ann was looking. Well, I don't know, he's here to present. Yes, Ann Mazar is on. Carl, do you know anything about the beaver? Can we do this business in 5 minutes before 7:15? Talk about beaver deceivers and money needed?
Damon had a lot of questions in email about it, so I recommend deferring that, tabling that until he shows up.
Anything else we can do in 5 minutes?
see, wetlands to, so.
We got the encroachment.
That's 29 Mount Street. What is it? Oh, God.
Oh, Carl went out to that site, he was like an emergency there, because we're,
Yes. Carl, can you explain Maury Street?
Well, yeah, are there people from the neighborhood in town? Lonnie said he might be notifying some of them. So are there people in the audience to talk about Maury?
Maury Street?
Anybody here from Maury Street? Any issues there?
So the agenda says discuss 29 Maury Street activities adversely impacting wetlands, and if the commission could engage a wetland specialist too, with the owner's permission, flag wetlands on 33 Maury, which must be next door to 29.
Yes.
Maury. So the complaint is from the neighbor saying there's something going on 29. Can the town help me? Well,
Yes,
by hiring a wetland specialist to find the wetlands there?
yeah, the Board of Selectmen have been and the zoning enforcement officer have been working for the past several years. My understanding is that the homeowner is on probation from criminally violating zoning and running a business out of a residential neighborhood. The issue is that he has dumped a whole lot of fill
Is
that's
that
not
29
clean.
Bowery Street?
Yes. Yeah, he's dumped a whole lot of fill and formed a berm. It is not clean fill, it is asphalt. Damon, I talked with Damon and he or someone else who knows better what the DOE regulations are would want to go and inspect the berm from the neighbor's property as well as the activity in the back part of the lot to see if it's something that DOE might want to do an enforcement action on in addition to the town doing something. At the back of 33 or at the back of the lawn area, you can see a channel of runoff from 29 Lowry heading north into 33 Lowry, where there's a groove running through demonstrating a lot of siltation. The question is whether the work that is taking place in 29 Lowry is within a buffer zone of a wetlands. And the way to determine that would be to flag the wetlands area in 29, and if the owner of flag the wetlands area on 33, and if the owner of 29 gives permission, flag that one as well, then we could take a tape measure and see whether or not he has disturbed the wetlands or whether he is doing grading work and other building and excavation work within 100 feet of the wetlands. If so, that would be another tool the town could use to try and bring the homeowner into compliance with the law and community standards.
Has any conservation member been notified to go out there and take a look at it? I haven't been.
I went out there and took a look at it, and I sent an email after I did that. I had a phone conversation with Damon, and he said that he might be able to go out there and look at it. And so the email that I sent previously was my notifying the Conservation Commission, and now we're discussing it in this meeting.
Why don't we have a conversation later on about that?
Yeah, at 7:15, we should start the public hearings.
So we'll start tonight with review of the notice of intent prepared for the property located at 2329 Uxbridge Road.
123 and 129.
You want to come on up? And you are?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm Andrew Donahue with Greenside Services Group.
Okay.
We prepared the remedial action plan for Mass DEP on this property. And so we're working for the applicant. I'm representing.
Francisco.
You happen to have a
Yes.
business card?
I do.
Is he here tonight?
He's not. No, he's not.
And do you have something on for there, or can we use old fashioned paper, or how can we?
I have paper. I don't have a postal board. Check it before.
Well, we might be able to flip one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, the audience can see it, but I don't know if you.
Thank you.
Electronic.
So you're here tonight to, is this an enforcement order from DEP?
It is, yeah. It's an administrative temple county.
Okay.
So
When was that issued?
that was issued in January. It's appended to the last piece of
It's the one right next to a couple doors down. It used to be the granite place. It used to be the trailer place.
Yes, Katie Trail.
Right.
Slab of
That's the medical store across from the George's.
Containers,
Down a ways. And he had dumpsters there, and now there's a bunch of car trailers there.
And there's a pile of something?
So he hauled in a bunch of material, and they didn't know where it was from. I think DEP took some samples of it, I think.
They did, yeah. They sampled it to make sure that it didn't have hazardous constituents in it. And so they didn't identify.
Can you tell me how you got involved?
There was a complaint, I believe.
Is there a mic that he can talk into so we can like hear the conversation? It seems pretty one-sided.
We don't know, because there's a mic, but that might only be for the video. I'm not sure there's one for the.
I can try to speak louder. Thank you. Or I can stand up here and just.
Sure.
That way I'm joking that way.
So if you don't mind, give us an overview of how we get to this point right here.
Sure.
Although
Yeah.
before, because it's an authorization, so it was complaint. And
Yes.
was there dumping within 100 feet of a buffer, or what gave us or somebody the ability to say, hey, I think there's something bad here, as opposed to we.
Can you point out the
pile and then
point out
the buffer zone, please?
This is the rubble stockpile here. It's mostly concrete and countertops, stone,
Right.
of that nature. This is the 100-foot buffer zone right here. Running through there, so I'd say about 65 to 75% of the volume of this pile is actually inside the buffer zone. Section that's outside of that. And it doesn't encroach on the actual resource area itself. It's just within the buffer zone. Yeah, there was a complaint, DEP responded, they came out, they determined there was a violation of the solid waste regulations. And
Violation of what regulation?
solid waste.
Okay. Right, it's got nothing to do with the wetland right now.
Other
No,
than he's
not
he's in the.
Not immediately, when they first went out there, they just noted a violation of solid waste regulations, because the material was being put there without a permit. And then they got, looking through the area, they brought in some people from the wetlands division, and they came in and said, yeah, well, this is probably, within the buffer zone of the wetlands, so you want to get involved, you want a notice of intent, or you want conservation.
So you were hired to represent them, and did you go and flag the wetland?
We did not, there was a study from 2007 that was done, so there was some maps in town that we were able to trace out. It doesn't show very well here, the edge of the map, of the wetlands.
Okay.
So it's dated, but that's what we had to work with on short notice.
So you're using a line that was determined back in 2007.
Correct.
When they moved the house, built the house in the back, right, they moved it.
So that wetland line is approximately,
Could have moved here or there.
15 years
I
old.
don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, looking at historic aerials, there doesn't seem to be much change in the landscape of this whole area around here. But yeah, things can change over time.
So you filed an NOI,
Yes.
and you.
I have it
Do you
all.
have, do you have the green cards and everything? Oh, okay, okay.
Downstairs.
And how many abutters here are for this property? Okay. Do you plan to reflag?
Yeah, we don't have a plan right now if it's required.
well, let's take one step at a time. Yes. You should check that. In
Okay.
15 years, term, that's a good starting point, so that it shows you that.
You never know, you might be out of the buffer with some of them, or in the buffer, more than one.
Wetlands grow and they receive.
So continue, why don't you let us know what your plan is here?
Well, the plan is to, it's very simple, just gonna load it into trucks and take it off-site to facilities that will, they're permitted to accept it and turn it into aggregate. So it's brought to the facilities that are listed in the remediation plan. They'll grind it up and it'll be reused as aggregate.
Basically cleaning up the mess that somebody else left, is what you're doing.
Right.
Yes.
Right, my objective is just to get this off the property. And following that, once all this rubble has been removed, we're gonna be doing ground penetrating radar survey of this area to check for anything that might be buried, disturbed earth or any buried objects. And then we'll be doing a test pit investigation. Test pit's gonna be based on, more or less on this grid system. And then it'll be specifically targeted anything that shows up in the ground penetrating radar survey.
Once the DEP told you, you found out that the pile is in the buffer zone according to the 07 flag, did you put the silt fence up around that pile?
Do you see it moving? Is that a concern?
Is it all
As a
stone?
follow-up to,
No, I don't see, I have some photographs that show the backside of the pile, between, shows the area between the rubber pile and the wooded area over here to the north. I can actually put that up here for.
so would you put up erosion control, or you as a professional could recommend going in, taking that out without putting up hay bale? Or what's your proposal to do for that?
Well, our proposal is to put erosion controls along here, line of silt fence and hay bales
Okay.
along that, just to be on the safe side. I don't expect that anything to be going off, but it should still be there.
And you're putting that where, at the extent of disturbance, or?
Yeah,
What does that orange line represent?
This is basically our project area. This is what we're considering the project area. This green line here is where we're going to be putting in the erosion controls.
Where's the buffer zone?
Buffer zone is
100
100
Yeah.
here. And so we're putting the erosion controls. We'll start from this part of the pile and just work our way towards the other side of it. Most of the material will probably be loaded on trucks. There's been some talk of maybe segregating some of it. There are portions of this that are mostly soil. We try to segregate it. We did that. We did that outside of the buffer zone. But what I've seen, there isn't enough soil in there for it to be worth the effort.
Are any of the rubble pieces coated with anything?
There were some coated materials, that's what DEP was looking at.
Oh.
And obviously DEP is going to be heavily involved in this with oversight. They'll be out there the entire time while we're doing the, and I'll be reporting to them regularly while we're doing this. And, if we get into this, it's a big pile. If we get into it, we start seeing a change in types of materials by DEP. Take a look. Figure out, evaluate that.
Translate.
No, hasn't been any visual on that. Said you don't know until you start getting into it on the surface. No. You can see it.
So I'm not totally sure, but are you the PCP, so you're responsible for it, it's your license, or how does this work? This isn't hazardous waste, but it's, or you're saying DEP will be reviewed? Who's going to be looking at each pile of trucks go out, and that's you? Or?
We'll be monitoring it, so we'll staff on site to monitor it. So we'll be giving a log on site.
You're
Yes.
hired by the applicant,
Our daily applicant.
under review of DEP.
Correct.
Dust suppression, we plan on using that, we require that, and if so, will be filtered completely on that. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're not expecting it. We would have water on site available to suppress dust. It's like it's going to be an issue. Most of these pieces are actually pretty large. So I don't anticipate generating much dust, but keep an eye on it. There will be water available to put dust down. It should stop work and figure out.
And how would you finish off this? Wooden seat?
Yes,
And is it pretty flat, or is it?
it's pretty flat.
So,
Or will it? No.
so after you get your approval to start, when is something like this going to start?
As soon as possible. Once we get the order of conditions, there's 60 days to get all of this on site for DEP fixing.
All right, so I think we should do a sidewalk there, because a lot of the things that company has been doing, they have a site plan and they have an approved site plan to do a certain thing. And every 3 or 4 months, we got something different there. So I think we should go look at it. He's clearing land all the way in the back. I don't know if it's hitting the buffer zone in the far corner. This gentleman here, do you have the business up front?
I do,
Okay.
I do.
So I know he put, what did you do, build a paddock back there too?
Yeah, so you had horses and donkeys back there originally. I'm Chris Patrick, King Gage Engineering. I'm at 119 Uxbridge Road, his neighbor. I know Francisco fairly well. So we watched them move in, we watched them do some clearing in the back. We watched the stonework come in, and then we watched the dumpsters come in.
Right.
There was an agreement that they would never be left filled. They were left filled on a regular basis. So I started complaining about that. Eventually sold the dumpster business away, and I think under new management, the dumpsters all got pulled out of there. But 2 or 3 of them were full, they just dumped them onto the pile. So that's when my radar went up a little bit further because, you know, like one day I came into work, there was no pile, there was a huge pile. My neighbors advised me that happened between 10 PM and midnight. This dumping and unmarked trucks, no lettering, no nothing. And this continued to happen. So this is a rather nefarious individual that we're dealing with. He's at other properties that have a lot of other legal issues going on. So the trust level has gone from here down to absolute minimal. Of course, I have a well next door. The fact that they had no problem dumping the dumpster pile on there gives me a great deal for concern, not just for me, but for everyone else downstream. Those dumpsters were left full many, many rainy nights. You know, whatever was in those dumpsters got washed out into the waterways down below. There's no question the watershed was away from my property, but I'm, you know, downstream, I feel bad for those people.
Okay, so hold that for 1 second.
Yeah.
So, when you, when it's completed and it's all hauled out, you're gonna do some testing on the ground, is that what you're supposed to do?
Yes, we have a test pit investigation.
Okay,
Mass DEP, they said they plan on being out there while we're doing the test
Okay.
pits. So we have to notify them before we start on that aspect.
okay, good. So, we'll let you continue, but I just wanna, I definitely want to, I definitely want to do a site walk, but I think we need to send an email to the planning board so we can get the, his original decision as to what he was allowed to do, and well, let's compare it to what's going on up there.
Sidewalk, yes, but should we move forward with this before the sidewalk so that they can get I mean, we got a kind of a hazardous situation over there.
Yep.
They're not, DEP is not calling it an emergency situation, but it is something that the longer we let it sit there, the worse it could make, impact the wetland.
Okay,
So right now, correct me if I'm wrong, they're under,
Right.
an order from the state.
Correct.
But it doesn't start ticking until
Until we
get done.
approve, until we give the order of conditions.
So why don't we listen to the rest of his presentation and then rule the way we're gonna rule, and let's set up a sidewalk
And we
today.
always
and see
add-
if you can do it, and we can all meet out there.
Okay.
And, so why don't you just continue?
Sure. Yeah, in terms of the emergency aspect of it, we did put forth the idea of trying to get an emergency certification. Emergencies, we can't use that, we see an RDA and NOI. So anyway, well, it's just not much more to present. The plan is to bring all this material off the property.
Put all the silk
Yes,
fence, hay bales up,
Right.
and then you're gonna move in and start hauling material out. It's gonna be monitored.
right.
Maybe delineate
Before we
maintenance
start,
first, right?
we'll be in contact with you to let you know when the erosion controls are set up, so you can come out and spend them. If we do end up doing loading or trying to do any material segment on this part of the property, then we'll set up additional erosion controls over here. It's all outside the buffer zone, but we'll still do it.
All right, so, what we do wanna have you do right away is redo.
Okay.
So we gotta check it and redo it, and then we'll come out and do a site walk. So we know where the wetland, we wanna see the wetland delineated all around with everything disturbed.
Okay.
Okay? So you're gonna segregate, so part of it is you're gonna separate the materials up front, is that what you're saying?
If it ends up being worthwhile.
Okay.
My sense is not gonna be enough of that there to make it work out well cost wise. And also, they have a very narrow commercial water material in 60 days.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know that we have abundance of time to sort of try
So
to.
DEP, with that running on it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're 60 days that's what they want to do.
When did that start?
From,
From the NOI?
that starts on the order of conditions.
All right.
Once you get a DEP number that starts, or
So you have one on there now?
Once we get an order of conditions, once we have.
is there a DEP? No, there is no DEP number.
We don't have a number yet?
No,
No,
So,
not until we file.
it has been.
yeah, he filed.
Oh, you filed.
You're just waiting for the number.
Okay.
Yes,
That should come, when did you file?
last week.
We should see it in a
They
couple of weeks.
emailed me earlier this week to let me know that I also had to submit it electronically because they're all working remotely. So, no, it showed up in their office, they let me know about it, so I shared that with them using Dropbox, so. They can have it.
Okay, so the process is you're gonna probably just be calling out. So we want to get all the delineation done.
Yeah.
Then we want to set up a site walk. So if you could notify us when it's, when the delineation is completed.
Mhm.
And, then we could, or if you know tonight, if you want to set up a site walk now, we could do that before.
Yeah, if you want to, yes, if you want to wait for the delineation, I'll let you get that scheduled.
Okay,
If you want
that's
to,
Probably should see it
Get out there at any
with an
time.
updated flag, I would think, right?
Okay, so, so the process is you're gonna remove all material. DEP is gonna, look to do some testing on when you get to original, when you get to original earth.
when we get to original Earth, yeah, test going exploration, evaluate material, material.
Right, and, they're gonna do testing or whatever, and then, they're gonna come up with some documentation.
Yeah,
Figure out
we'll have
whether it's-
documentation of everything, all those loads that came off. All the tonnage, everything's gonna have to match up. And Mass DEP would be able to assess the solar. So
Okay.
they may or may not require it.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Here.
Where's your well located?
So,
You can come on up and,
yeah. So my well is right here.
Okay.
So I'm a good distance away, but I don't know what aquifers there are and all that stuff. I'm hoping that comes out in this reporting that there are aquifers that could affect it. But we did watch the size of the trucks come in here and they were full 18-wheeler loads. They weren't like someone from a countertop, so it made me think it was more construction site debris. So my only concern there was just for the people removing it. There could be asbestos buried in that pile. I'm not saying there is, I'm not accusing it, but there were such large trucks. It just gave, reason for concern.
You never know.
Yep.
Yeah, and if I could be invited to the site survey, that would be wonderful.
Sure.
But, yeah, and if we saw anything like that, we would stop work immediately.
Okay. You have a card that we can use?
That's not a issue over here.
So, we don't have a number yet, so we can't,
Yeah.
we can't approve it. I mean, we can, as soon as we get the, paperwork back from DEP.
We couldn't approve it, and then pending satisfactory site visit. And then if something came up, the site visit that was new to us or disagreed,
Well, I mean,
we could reopen the hearing. Just that.
they need time to do delineation anyway, and we want to go out there after it's delineated. So, the order of conditions, we're gonna have it in probably 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. So why don't we, schedule him for the next meeting? And, when we get the paperwork back from DEP, we can, reopen the hearing and vote on it, and then get you going, so we can get this taken care of. So as we get the number, we'd like to see it, so between this time, if you can get it delineated, so we can then, at the next meeting, we could set up a site walk, and then we could, get the thing moved.
Our meeting should,
Is it all right with you that we continue to do that?
Yes, no, that's fine.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion from Peter, to continue 123, 129 Uxbridge Road until we get our DEP number from the DEP. We will have him in on the 9th, and that was seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? So why don't you, give us a call when it's delineated, or if you just want to come in on the 9th, you think you can get it done by the 9th?
I don't know.
I'll go.
I'll email the commissioner.
All right, so if you can get it done by the 9th, we could at least get a site walk and then if the number's in, we can move forward. It's not, it's not, but, we'd like to get up there, it's illuminated, and you get a look at it.
Yeah.
That way you can get a handle on it, and, you can most definitely invite the neighbor, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay?
And I will, I'll get going on trying to arrange.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, have a good night.
Okay, so you want to tell you, or any interest in moving this away?
Okay, public hearing.
All right, so, Honeybunk Estates.
You said that.
Here's a friendly face we haven't seen in a while.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
I think downstairs.
We were raised out of a room down there for years.
Oh.
Yeah, excuse me, pardon me. We're up in the big, now we're moving up.
How'd you get here?
So we got the updated. That's what we got right here.
Yes, I'm gonna give you they printed it, there was something with the ink, it smudged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, working on stuff, here we are now on engineering.
Bob, it works better if you put that up and then kind of speak.
No, you go,
Mr. Bob.
yes,
This will be a little clearer.
well, it's third on one thing, we, about. So,
You say you have surgery?
correct.
How do you know?
I guess he's doing fine.
Was in and out, huh?
I'll be very brief about, just got some basics about the project, subdivision, obviously.
And or maybe if you take one of those mics for the people listening in on the,
Oh, okay.
wait, just hold it in your hand.
Yeah, because I think I would.
Yeah.
Okay, again, it's a subdivision that's been submitted to the town. For the planning board for approval, we are in front of you people, we are working in the resource areas.
Excuse me, but is that mic working? I can hardly hear you.
No, it does not work for the room. That's mic is only for its video. You're just gonna have to, you'll have to face the other way.
Okay.
Glad it was. Thank you.
So we have filed, environmental has done the delineation and such. It was determined, we do have, wood turtles, so part of the plan that Goddard had put together, turtle prevention plan, they're gonna provide a barrier around this plan, that they can, it doesn't show it, but if you're around this area, then the intent is to keep turtles from getting into the work area during construction. There'll be this fencing area, similar like silt fencing. There will be a gated area put in, so that during construction, people can go out at night. It's supposed to be closed off.
What do you mean by gated area?
It's just you're gonna have this fencing area. Yeah, God might be there. Ryan, he could probably speak more on some, a couple put
But
together.
it sounds like a perimeter all the way around, and where the construction crews drive in, they have a gate, they can open, it, so they can
It'll
come
be
in.
open just during the construction time and then be closed after.
Can I ask a question? And I'm representing.
Yeah, you gotta,
We're gonna have them present
Okay.
everything then.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Just a few quick questions.
yeah, we'll let you ask all the questions you want.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Like I
Bob.
said,
So is he,
Got it from Ryan.
Ryan, you on there?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, this is Ryan Rosine with Goddard Consulting. As I was saying, we put together a turtle protection plan per the request of Natural Heritage. So basically what this turtle protection plan does is it ensures that no turtles are in the construction zone when construction is going on. So basically how this goes is before any sort of work takes place inside the site, a silt fence at least 2 to 3 feet high is put around the entire limit of work. And then there's a temporary access gate, usually made of plywood or some other sort of approved gate. And then if it's during the active season, which is between April 15th and October 15th, so if the fence is put up in that time, we do turtle sweeps, 4 hours per acre, and that's required by Natural Heritage. And so we'll do that before any work takes place, any clearing or anything like that. And then we'll make sure no turtles are in there. And then they'll, then once we determine that there's no turtles inside of the limit of work, they'll be able to proceed with clearing and construction. And then there's regular inspections of the fence throughout the active season to make sure it's in good condition so no turtles can get in.
And then over the winter, because I assume this project is going to be more than one construction season long.
Yep.
That stays up in the winter and gets maintained and.
Yes. Yes. So it stays up the entire time. In the winter time during the off season, so between October 15th and April 15th, they don't have to they can open the gate and just leave it open because the turtles will be in the water. So they're not going to be up on land as they would be during the summer. And then in the early spring in March, we'll go back out to make sure that it's all in good condition before the start of the active season. And, make sure that it's all tight and so that no turtles can get in. And that happens for however long, construction is going on.
Yeah, but help me with this. Conceptually, those turtles are shut out of that nesting area, whatever that spot is, that's on the site that is within the construction zone. For the next year and a half or 2 years, they're not going to have two mating seasons. I don't know, is that where they mate in that pond or?
No.
So that's okay, or that's just that's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So they mate in the streams and then they'll come up onto land into open sandy areas to lay the eggs. And to my knowledge, there is no open sandy areas on the site currently. So there's nowhere. I mean, they'd be able to, like during the summertime, they would just kind of be wandering through there. They might, that's where they spend their summers, just foraging and, just hanging out around there. But I mean, yes, for some time, they won't be able to get into that area. But this is all approved by Natural Heritage. And this is how it goes for, throughout the state for these sort of projects.
Thank you.
So this is a temporary barrier. Are there any plans for a permanent barrier?
No, there's no plans for a permanent barrier. Natural Heritage doesn't require a permanent barrier, and they would actually rather, have, it open, even though there are going to be houses and whatnot. They don't want it to be completely closed off. That there's no need for a permanent barrier.
But you've had to revise your storm drainage. Is that all taken into account with this new, or you're still going?
Well, I think it's been modeled the same. It's a temporary situation. We do the precondition, and the post condition would be after. But I don't think we modeled this in a temporary condition. The system after the construction's done now will be gone, and the system will.
No, but didn't it change the way you had to do the layout? You couldn't extend the road all the way, or something shifted, right?
Yeah, we did some, I think, correct, the road shifted a little bit, and we had to reconfigure the lots because of frontage changes.
Did you lose a lot?
I think they did, did
Lot 5 get changed, some of that?
Was 8.
Yeah, 7, I got 8, yeah.
Yeah, but lot 5, I think, wasn't that? I think that's so they ended up putting the detention basin in part of lot 5 or something.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure, it's 4. Yeah, this could be.
5's the top right, yeah.
Yeah, but this is 4 right here, so this is property unless it's, I apologize for the board, large projects, but I think there is an open space component.
Yes. Bob, has this gone through planning board yet?
Yes.
Is that approved?
No, not this time. We actually were trying to get this finalized so we can revise the plans. get them back to the board and their review agent
Yeah,
grades.
can you just show me where the buffer zone is in relation to the cul-de-sac?
Well, cul-de-sac being here, there's a mostly the wetlands is south.
Is that the brook?
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, that's-
going broke down, the resource area,
Were you talking about?
No, just what?
the one lines in here, comes up here, and there's two areas in here. I guess.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think this is also worth the study.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Nothing's been cleared out there.
No, but I just want to go away that, we can't cross the gas line. Part of this, work with the gas line, we have to go and actually, shoot the top of the gas lines.
What
Elevation.
does that mean? None of the bottom.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean finding the grade, it's not shooting with.
Yeah, no, bad word with the gas line.
Yeah.
Find an elevation,
I get it.
because we want to look at the road of going across to make sure there's adequate cover. So that will be happening, so there will be a tentative, well, they will be doing some digging just to verify.
Is there an intermittent stream or any sort of stream associated with that resource area?
I don't, I think it's a bit.
Can I ask a quick question? I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Where is that pond we're talking about? Okay. You know, for the runoff.
Well, the detention pond, this is gonna be a man-made basin for a stormwater.
I never saw where it was. Okay.
It's right with the road, this is Dan, the representation,
I know.
this road comes in.
It's beyond the end of the coast.
Right, downhill and down.
Yeah,
I never saw anything. That's good. Thank you. Okay, so
So Bob, you're saying that you're gonna, one of the first steps, you're gonna go in there and ask Bill to the pipeline.
that's part of the requirements for the gas company for us.
Show existing elevations and top pipe. We will have that included in our document.
Do you have a deep even yet?
No, I don't think they have. The NEPA numbers are like 560.
Well, is this Honeybunk Estates?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, this is already,
You filed 218-0825.
Apologize.
yeah, this has been going on for a while. I
8
think-
years.
I think
Sorry,
that,
guys.
I think that you actually moved everything further out of the wetland, out of the buffer
Yeah,
zone,
the shifts.
right? We shifted it, and so actually we're getting further, a lot less in the buffer than there
The
was
impact
before.
has been reduced.
So can you show me the buffer again, sir?
It's, what's in here? It's mostly up in this area,
That's the 100-foot buffer right there?
Yes.
That vernal pool
Yeah,
right
so
there.
there was an isolated pool and then it was
Yeah.
determined that that was burned.
Right,
Yeah,
they moved out.
these are the, why we're part of the commission.
Okay.
Not so much the buffer zone now.
Oh, I see.
But, like I said, once you have that asphalt, the pipeline.
Yeah, all the plans, your plans are gonna be updated, so they, yeah.
Okay, so we want to do a sidewalk. So, is the vernal pool?
Yes.
Is the center line staked? Is the center line staked?
Of the road,
Proposed.
I don't believe so.
So how would we know where we're?
We'd have to meet somebody other than.
Well, you look at the center line. You need it located, you gotta go up there and get it located.
Standard procedure, we haven't changed.
You know,
We've all the mistakes and
Well, if there's no rush on this, I would like to do two together, but if there is, and I'm not sure if we got another site. I like 2 and 1, but how you want to schedule it?
if you, I'll be honest with you, the crew, survey crews are crazy busy. I'm being honest with you up front, so I have to get back to.
You want to let us know when? you
Exactly, I
get
can
stuff
get you,
marked out?
I can get you an idea when they're gonna do it, so you can schedule reporting.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if there are other questions from the audience, but I'll make a motion to continue this.
So what, yeah, so, okay, so we have a motion to continue by Peter,
second.
okay, by Damon, any discussion? Sure.
My quick question, thank you very much, guys. Because this has been going on. I have a couple of quick questions. And again, we're talking about the wildlife and the turtles and all that. So I live here at the beginning, okay?
Where do you live?
I live right here on.
To the left of the road, proposed?
If you, well,
Yes,
depends
the
on,
north
there's
side.
2 entrances.
Okay.
But I live, if it's coming down here, I probably live over there. It's lot number 15, 5. Okay, yeah, this is me. So I live up here. So coming down here, again, that's why I'm asking these questions, because with the ponding areas going, we talk about turtles and all this stuff. So you're talking about wildlife, you're talking about turtles, vernal pools, just a little quick education for you guys. I mean, what else is involved there other than turtles? Is there fish? Is there, I mean, with the.
There's
brook-
salamanders, there's certain
There
species.
could be different species in it. That natural heritage rules
Yes.
on all that.
That's
We
why
we
I
don't get
asked.
involved in that other than enforcing any kind of distance.
It's probably wood frogs. the wood
No,
frog
not a
itself.
beaver, not a beaver in a vernal pool.
Okay, I've never been down here because it's too far to
It's
be.
like where they lay their eggs and whatnot. and-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys to be concerned beyond these time, and I'm very interested in hearing this. Is there anything else you can think that can change the project?
Well, so we look
It's
at,
just education.
we look at the wetlands. We're looking at the wetlands and
There's a lot of
we
wetlands.
enforce the state statute on wetlands. So,
Okay,
that's what we're looking at now. He has to file, when you file for wetlands, you have to file natural heritage too. And natural heritage has different zones all around the state, and depending on the zone is what the species is.
okay.
So that's what they're involved in now.
With the DEP, state
Excuse me?
file permit with the.
Yeah, when you file for wetlands, you also have to file for natural heritage, and
Okay.
then they come back and they say, we think there's this in that area, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
And then they inform, we get a letter, we get CC, they get a letter, and then it starts the mitigation part or the protection, or
Okay.
depending on whatever it is that they're protecting.
Okay.
So, that's where he's at right now with the, so they determined it was turtles?
yes, wooden turtle.
Wood turtles.
But it could be more, but you don't know yet.
Well, they know.
They made it determination.
They're the experts, and if they're satisfied, we're gonna be satisfied.
We had a separate company, brought it environment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just getting it.
Yeah, so that's how it works. It comes from the state, it goes to them, and then they have to deal with whatever is out there. If that makes sense. So that's what they're doing now. So, it's the turtle, and you have to do a certain procedure for turtles. And that's the area and the migration of them, and depending on the time of year, they can only do the work a certain time, I believe. But I haven't seen the ruling from, Natural Heritage yet, but they're gonna come up with a schedule, and they're gonna dictate everything.
Are they all ground animals? Because I'm asking,
I haven't seen the report. Is it only turtles, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
what do you do about coyotes?
What do you do by coyotes? Nothing, nothing wrong.
50 coyotes, I hear, like, seriously,
Yeah.
I have, I've lived here 8 years.
Well, they've been here for so long.
Yes, reaching out,
With,
it's at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning coyotes. I don't know, I hear them coming, and it sounds like they're attacking something, and again, I don't hear them.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
we don't, they.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just asking the question. 'cause you-
with 8 new homes there,
And they start moving.
there's gonna be less coyotes there.
I'm just, yeah, lots of homes, but
Yeah.
I'm just asking a question, you know?
Yes.
They might go well when they go to city houses, you know, they might go well. And again, I understand, and not question, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's all I'm saying. So just a question about conservation.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will all fall into place, and the DEP will, state DEP will move it along, and then.
Well, the commission.
Yeah, so they have to protect these areas that are under jurisdiction.
And my question on turtles, what happens to these turtles? If they're, and then you put up,
They only use that place intermittently, so for 2 years during construction, they're gonna have to take a wide detour and go around the fence, because they're not gonna be able
Yeah,
to
they-
follow
so
it.
the turtles will move somewhere.
They will take another route through
They're
the
gonna
door.
go around to avoid the construction so they don't get hurt.
Hopefully,
They'll stay in this big area,
yes.
because the town owns 20, 30, 40
Well,
acres.
this particular species was not.
That's my question. But right now, we're dealing with turtles,
Yes.
but it could be other small species.
No, it's turtles. They determined it.
That's the only.
They went out there and checked it.
Concern that the state had.
It's education.
Yes.
All right, so you, the state DEP gets back to you, and then we'll move construction, guys.
Gone back, yeah.
Well,
Come back to us
planning
at a
board.
meeting, we'll have our site walk, we'll come back, we'll say, yes, you gotta put more erosion control here or not there. If you have any concerns, you'll still have a shot there. Then we'll write our order of conditions, you have 10 days to appeal it, and then they can start going to work.
So is this, as far as this committee, this is the only area you guys are dealing with
Only in the wetlands, that's pretty much.
Just-
Keep up water in your bus.
because of the road
Yes.
and the ponding area? Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So as far as the turtles go, I don't know if you knew too much about it, but I mean, are they gonna let you construct after a certain season, or how's this going?
Well, they just, in the report I read, their turtles have an active season, that's when you're gonna be, you have the gates open. Then obviously, you know, it's, Ryan said, it's other months, they're basically water.
April 15th, October 15th.
Where do they go to water? They go into
They
the road.
stay in the brook area, so, water. They don't
Somebody-
travel out into the warm weather.
They'll go into that brook, the big brook.
Yeah, they go to Muddy Brook and they come upland, I guess, in the drier times to lay their eggs and then they go back down.
Okay, so we have a motion, okay, is there any more discussion?
Paul, is there an easement going on to the town property?
The gas, you can look at that.
No, going to the open space. There isn't yet.
No, there's no way to show, well, this isn't.
No, there-
This is, erosion control for,
But is there an easement?
I'd have to get back to you. Okay.
Is
That would be,
something you
it
want?
would be on the logging plan.
Yes, it's right on the plan. Temporary access easement to town land.
Temporary, why temporary?
I don't.
Ann Mazar, do you have a question or an answer as, do we want access to town-owned land from this new cul-de-sac? I would think we would if possible. Why
Yeah,
not?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there will be an easement from the cul-de-sac to the town land because the public wells that would go with the affordable housing at 52 Providence would be accessed through there. And so Jack Hunter knows this, and we're sort of figuring out with Gary and Howland what the next steps are to map it out.
Okay, but it sounds like that should be a permanent easement, right? Not used often, but for.
Yes, it would be permanent. Yep.
All right, so we'll check on that. I mean, the language on this one does say that this is not the logging plan.
Check on that and show us what kind of detail that easement path will be. Is it gonna be wood? It's certainly not gonna be like wood.
Oh, the other
It's gonna
surface.
be gravel road, it's gonna be a cart path. It's gonna be-
What is a permanent easement? Because
Permanent
I've been
easement.
told 10 times, and
It stays on.
it's not a road.
It's not a road, but it allows a truck to go in, maybe on an annual basis, as needed to maintain the wells that are going to be.
Well, curb opening.
Right, I'd like to see what that easement is gonna look.
A detail on the construction of the easement.
Right, what does it look like, again, like, normally we'll probably.
Just so there's no questions in the future.
Oh, we'll follow it out as a 10-foot wide gravel road, foot deep. And we'll label it in the planning board, it will be a detailed reference to how the layout.
Again, my concern is 5 years from now, this paved road.
Yes,
Coming
coming out on Daniels Road,
I want to see what it's supposed to be so we can
really.
hold people.
Sorry, but it's been a bone of contention in my neighborhood since 8 years, since this project started. That you're gonna build the affordable housing and then everybody comes out up here on that road onto Daniels Road.
Wants to get the neck hill for the cut through.
Yes,
I live on George Street.
And I've been- me and my neighbors are fighting that, and I'm sorry, because I got really nasty at the last meeting and said, people lie. But I got up at the meeting last week, and I asked questions, because they're gonna do a survey about, putting in the affordable housing, this and this and this. And I'm gonna be very open about this. I've worked with Kim, I've worked with everyone in this town. I think to put in a permanent road to go to affordable housing, I'm all for affordable housing. But I've been told it's gonna come out Providence Street. But there's wetlands over there too. And then last year at the town meeting, you know, I got out and Bill said, we're gonna build 99 bedrooms, okay, on 3.5 acres. Really? The question is, and this town needs to answer it, okay, so you put it, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take up your time. And I understand it. I don't mind the wells going in. Go through here, there's a million trees gonna be cut down. But if they put it over here, that's fine. But the concern is, okay, there's wetlands over here, we're gonna build this over here. Oh, we'll just put a road in and go up this road.
No, they can't do that.
You'll have to be a watch, we'll all be a watchdog on how that phrasing goes, what is the purpose of that easement? I think it can be clear that it is.
The language in the easement's gonna dictate what they can do. Bob, how long is that cul-de-sac? Is that 800 feet?
8 houses. 8 houses from.
Yeah, I don't know what the frontage is approved for. They're only allowed to do a cul-de-sac so long. Unless they were gonna go through, the easement language, if the easement language has been written yet, Bob, or no?
No.
No.
That's typically at the end of a project.
And the intent of the easement is to access a well only?
The easement can be written up to whatever you want.
No, but is that what the intent is of this easement?
I believe so, yeah.
That's what the town asked of the applicant.
Right, just access foot to wells.
Yes.
Okay.
So you want to pay attention to the easement language.
Because I'm gonna back up a little bit. When I lived with Kim, like I said, I don't think it's a long time. So 20 acres, person sold the property, I'm not gonna say names, but there's 20 acres here that the town is gonna own, conservation or whatever you guys want to call it. And then you go way over here, okay? So, yeah, so down here, oh, people can park here and they can walk in here, conservation lane, the walking trips. Where are they gonna park? This is the plan. Oh, well, you know, whatever. Well, they can park up on Neck Hill Road, up on Gables Road where I live, whatever. But then the concern is, so you start, okay, people park here and you have like 80 houses. People gonna say, why are you parking here? Why are you parking up here? And it's gonna be okay. And then in here, this is my concern, is, okay, over here's affordable housing, which is fine. All great and good, but the concern is, you're gonna take, this was 78 acres originally. And you're gonna take it and then you're gonna keep building and building and building. That's the neighborhood's concerns, not just my neighborhood, but all of the town.
So you said you had a conversation with who? Kim?
Kim?
The town administrator?
Yeah,
Okay.
2 years ago.
Okay, and did you have a conversation about what the easement was for? Is that what you were asking her?
No,
Oh,
I got plenty of time for it. But we were talking about generically over here. What was going on, I explained to her about how this got sold, which was not a good scenario. So I'm not telling tales on school, but I'm just saying. So the concern is this whole acreage of what's gonna happen. So you guys can understand that, it's like, we, as a neighborhood, and the town wants to know, all the way up here, you know, Parker Ave, all the way around to Providence Street, wetlands over here, you know, and last year at the meeting, when I was at, oh, well, we're gonna put in affordable housing, fine, and no, but we need to get the wells in here. That's what I'm asking the question about. How you gonna get wells in here? We're gonna go this way.
so why don't we ask her? Ann, are you still on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, so, Ann, can you, clarify that? Is the easement, at the end of the cul-de-sac only gonna be written to access a public well? Or is it gonna be walking trails and stuff?
I mean, it could be walked on, but the easement is needed because to access the wells. And
Okay, so,
around the wells, it has to be open space. It can't be developed because it's a zone 1. And the
Okay.
affordable housing is off of 52 Providence Street on the other side of Muddy Brook.
But this will be no
So
access.
the easement is gonna be written to pass and repass to get anything associated with a town well, is that correct?
It's just to get to the well for the affordable housing, yes. And also, she was talking about parking. The developer has to put parking in on the open space, at least 3 spaces on the open space. So that's where people will park.
People,
Well, then now you've expanded that use, and I'm all for it, but it's a right of way, a permanent easement for access for trucks, to maintain the well, and for the general public to go to 2 or 3 designated parking lots that someone is going to build on the town's open space. And I'm all for that, but let's be clear with the neighbors that that's the purpose of that easement, because it's already a kind of a touchy subject. But let's
It
deal
is
with
the
it.
purpose, that is the purpose of the easement. And the parking, the developers, when they put the parking in, it's part of an open space subdivision so that people can access the open space. And so that's why the parking is required and the developer has to put it in.
so it's
This is
not
an open
just for a well.
space, so it's not just for access to the well. It
Open
is-
space, meaning a road can go in here?
No,
You know, there'll be a
space.
path, but
land.
somewhere that you can park. So as soon as you get onto town land, someone is going to create 2 or 3 parking areas. So that people can get out of
Is
their
that part
car
of your scope?
and then walk.
That's planning board.
Yeah, right.
Well,
You won't,
it should
you,
be shown on the plans.
Right, well, it's not the plan, it's not approved yet.
have you been going to the planning?
So,
It should be written, it's gonna have to be written.
This is a planning board.
You want to keep going, most of the stuff is planning board, you want to keep going to those.
I get it, but you
when
can
it's
understand.
approved by the
No, I
plan,
do. Totally.
those
It's
plans.
not
Little,
just-
little confusion.
My neighborhood, it goes all the way down to Hartford
But I
Avenue.
feel that we need to make sure we do our work before they're gonna go to planning
Yeah,
board,
they
in
should be-
case we require them to
Yes,
change
before-
something. You know,
Once we get approved, like, and then there's an endorsement time. Plans can be, just so you know, just because they're set at a certain time, will be another set that'll be signed off.
Okay.
And there'll be time if there is something missing to catch it.
All right, so we need to move on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions for Muddy Brook in the audience on the Zoom?
Didn't want to be
don't see anybody's hand up.
So I'll move that we continue.
Uh,
Go ahead, Dan.
I would.
I was just, I mean, I think you covered it, but just for the, I understand what the resident is saying. The existence of those wells, and I think Ann said this, there will be a zone 1 around those wells that nothing can happen. So they will actually block a road so no road can ever go in there because of those wells. You have to access the wells, obviously, to maintain them, but by putting that in, it will actually prohibit any future potential development.
I mean, I think that's. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to continue the hearing. Are you good with continuing?
Yeah.
Can I just add one quick thing, Jamie? Last year, at the meeting I was at in the fall, Bill McKinney said it's gonna cost $500,000 to put those wells in. I don't know where they are in that plan, you may know that, whatever. But just, if you guys can just stay in the loop and talk with me, because we just need to know what the future is.
Well, so when those wells are constructed or when they raise appropriate money to construct these wells,
Right.
if they're in the buffer zone, you're gonna get noticed. If you're within the 300 feet, you'll be noticed at that time too. But you'll probably hear it on, it's something that the town's gonna have to take a hold of at some point. You know, if they want to, if they're actually gonna construct wells to permit the water.
And beyond that, we call a sack. I don't know how far that is.
Yeah.
Half a mile, I don't. But it's a big. 3 times.
That's something that, yeah, they evaluate, they take all the facts in and they decide whether they move forward. And that's something that has to be raised.
Okay, so as far as here, I want to ask you, any idea if there's plans and guys will forward that, when construction will start?
Okay, I'll see.
When do we want to continue?
So you want me
Bob, when do you want to get on the agenda again?
You said the ninth, which is next, no, I,
Are you going to be able to delineate
no,
on us?
that's what I was saying. You
Okay.
said the next meeting was the ninth, I probably after that.
Okay.
Another month?
So,
Want to get it?
We'll give you the dates.
23rd, maybe,
23rd.
23rd of June?
of June.
can you make, is that something that you want, Bob?
That's fine. So we're trying to get down to.
Yeah, just let us know if you need to be in front.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being helpful and educating.
Okay, so, moving on, let's see, we have, 45, 46 Oxford Road. You, John?
It is.
Okay.
How big is small?
Y'all have a little small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up. I think yeah, we changed what we can use. Well, this is added, we didn't change much of the time. Anybody else get this one? Good evening, John Anna with Route 85 Realty Corp. We're here on a continuation of our public hearing for conservation at 4549 Oxford Road. The site contains 4 buildings that were built in, I believe, late 50s, early 70s, depending on which building it is. They're concrete block buildings. When they were built prior to zoning. There was no drainage put in at all for any of the buildings. There was no drainage structures. There was no retention basins, nothing. The flow of the water came down the main driveway here onto Route 16. And in the past, many of you know, Route 16 flooded from curb to curb in that area, across the street from the marina. There was a lot of silt coming down. There's a cell phone tower right here. There was a dirt road, and this was all a dirt road. So the silt used to come down, run down into the road, clog that catch basin. In Route 16, the road would fill up with water and flood that area. We bought the site approximately 3.5 years ago. We had a very wet spring the first year that we bought it. We probably owned the site for about 6 weeks when we got our first heavy rainstorm. I went out there. This road was fully flooded. I saw a tractor trailer truck go through the puddle at probably 50 miles an hour, and I saw the water go up to the roof on the marina and onto the windows, and I said, oh, I got to do something. So at that time, we went out, and there was an existing culvert here that used to go across the driveway. The water used to come down, get into this area here, run under the road, dump down into this wetland here. At that time, that pipe was fully clogged. You couldn't even find it. So I dug down by hand and found one end of the pipe. The other end of the pipe was visible with a small head wall and outlet. At that time, I had contacted the Conservation Commission and just said I was going to do an emergency repair so the water would stop coming down into 16. Replace this pipe here with 2 12-inch smooth bore corrugated pipes, plastic pipes. Above the other pipe, I created a plunge pool on the other side and a plunge pool on this side to help with the silt. When we first started working on the site, we were working up here out of the buffer. We went into the buffer back here during those same rainstorms, this wetland here and this wetland here connect. There's a path that the water used to come down, come to the back corner of the building here, go into a pipe, come out at the other side. Actually, it used to come into a pipe here, come down under the building and out the other side. At some point, this pipe got clogged, so somebody had cut the top of the pipe here. Basically, that all silted up over the top of the pipe. In fact, it was even silted up at the outfall on the other side of the building. And the water would bubble up out of the ground. During those first few rainstorms, the water pushed through the siding on the building, the steel siding on the building. We had about 3 to 4 inches of water running across the floor inside of the building, coming out the other side underneath the steel siding, and then following that same path down to the slower wetland. At that time, because of this damage that this was doing to the building, we installed a pipe from here all the way down and around the building. We got in trouble for that with DEP. DEP issued an enforcement order. We were 2 years with DEP taking care of the enforcement order. At that place, the stream over here, we removed the pipe, repaced the stream so it would flow around the building. When we were working with DEP to replace that stream, they knew we were coming in with this plan for this parking lot, but because we were under enforcement order, they wouldn't let us continue this and empty it here, so they made us empty it at the same location where the pipe was emptying it before, knowing that we would come back, file a notice of intent to move this little section of stream up and around the parking lot we were creating. Like I said, the buildings were built before zoning. This lower building here, which is building D, I believe, building A and building B, the lower floor on building B, require 47 parking spaces to meet current zoning. Once you renovate the buildings, 50% renovation, which we are doing and have done, you have to meet current zoning standards. So we've gone through planning, we've done drainage analysis on the whole site. The drainage was approved by the town consultant, Graves Engineering. We meet all best management practices on the drainage to protect the wetlands. In fact, compared to what the site was originally and what the site is now, we've 100-fold. We're going to increase the drainage, removing the suspended solids out of the drainage before it gets into Nipmuc. We're in front of the board now to get. We've already got approved through planning board. We're trying to get our notice of intent to construct this parking lot. At the last meeting, we have a file number now. DEP asked for a wildlife habitat evaluation, which Goddard Consulting has done. Mike asked for details on the open box culvert where we're going to cross this stream, and details on the wall type that we're going to use at that crossing. Those have been supplied on a new detail sheet. The last detail sheet has the open box culvert and the wall stuff. As part of our punishment for doing this work here before we filed, we paid a lodge fine and we did a supplemental environmental project on Lake Nipmuc to see what the nitrogen levels are in the pond. That was agreed with the Conservation Commission. That's what they wanted done. That was completed last September. And we got sign off from DEP to continue with the rest of the stuff. The drainage now is collected in an underground basin. We still have the pipe going under the building just because there's still slopes here that collect some water behind the building. So we have to have something that takes the water that collects in this corner out of the corner. It's not the water coming from this wetland. It's just whatever rainwater would accumulate here. Now the water would come down this stream channel. We would extend this stream channel around the parking lot and empty it just before the open box culvert where it will flow back into the wetlands. We have silt fence from the entrance all the way up the hill on both sides of the site. Up and around. We have water quality swales prior to entering the detention basin to remove total spent solids before it gets into the underground detention basin. And that's basically.
Could you say that again? I didn't
We have some water, we have a water quality swale. It's like, they call it a barracuda. What it does is it kind of, as the water gets in there, it kind of creates either a vortex or it has different ways and it takes the silt out of the water because you don't want silt getting into the underground detention basin because they're really hot and clean. So you have this water quality structure here that takes out the silt. And we also have a water quality structure right here for these last 2 catch basins at the end of the road. Those have not been installed yet. There's a series of plunge pools that are installed to clean the water that comes off the road here and through here. This drainage here has not been installed yet, and this drainage now in this area has not been installed. So the parking lot, originally we had the parking lot, it came around the back of the building like this. We removed about 2,300 square feet of pavement now, so we don't have that. We don't have that area anymore of pavement. We're just doing the area that we need for parking. We're required 47 spaces. We have exactly 47 spaces. Happy to answer any questions everybody is familiar with.
So John.
Yes.
So, at the end of this, it says wildlife habitat evaluation.
Yeah. I'm going to turn it over to Tom Schultz for that.
Oh. Was we want to go with that?
Yeah.
Explanation. Just for the record, my name is Tom Schutz. I'm with Goddard Consulting. Ryan, who's on the call and spoke earlier about the turtles, he and Scott Goddard conducted the wildlife habitat evaluation out on the site, and they found no significant habitat in the impacted area that wasn't also extremely, it was also in the rest of the areas above in the large acreage that was in the uplands. The only area that was found to be significant was the reconstructed stream, and that is going to be all replaced when we bring the reconstructed stream around the parking lot, and that's 240 linear feet of reconstructed stream, and that's a 1-to-1 ratio from what is being moved for the parking lot. So there was no significant habitat in the impacted area that's not going to be replaced.
I know Emily was the agent. Emily did a site walk with me. She requested that I put a table on the plan. You can see it on the existing conditions page or on the erosion control page. The amount of buffer that we will be disturbing, it's about 64,000 square feet of buffer in the area that the parking lot's going. In that area, we're only disturbing an additional 142 square feet of land underwater.
Yeah, so this is going to be a sort of a temporary impact just because it's an open box culvert. So we're not going to be actually impacting the stuff underneath where the culvert's going, but that section where the road is going to be going and the permanent crossing is going to be going, we have an additional 42 linear feet of bank that's going to be impacted for the implementation of the actual culvert, and then 152 square feet of land under water body. That's also going to be impacted. That won't be replicated, but not severely impacted just because it's an open box culvert. So you don't have to dig down to put the bottom in.
You set it on the existing grade.
Yeah, there'll be footings for the open box culvert, but they're an offset footing, so the face of the footing lines up with the inside of the box culvert.
Just kind of let everybody know here what.
Yeah, so an open box culvert it's like a little bridge. We're only spanning about 8 feet. The channel in that area is only 5 feet wide. So it's a box culvert that's 8 feet high, so you'll have a footing and the concrete wall will come out and they'll go across and then down on the other side. So the stream that goes underneath, we'll try as best we can not to disturb. We'll put still fencing along both sides of it. And we'll basically span that. And then on top of that, the dirt goes where the road is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have 2 questions. One is I'm looking at the landscape plan and I'm seeing you plant 5 4-inch spruces in front, another 2 in front. You got little islands on both sides, little landscaping in front of the buildings. I'm not seeing any trees in the parking lot, around the parking lot. I know underneath you've got a big underground chamber, but I guess my overall concern is loss of trees. And my second and most, I'd let you answer that question first, but my bigger issue is the hole that you're saying you got to build this road to get rid of the stuff that you're digging out to build the parking lot. but you're gonna be biffing just as much trees and leaves to build that temporary road. So I have a hard time seeing justification for it.
Yeah, so it says it's a temporary haul road, so for this project, it is a temporary. So the idea of doing.
Is there
this-
another project you're talking about?
No, so we don't have anything planned for the back end yet, but as a limited project, when we're doing this crossing, we're hoping to pave up to this area and get this all blasted so that if we do decide to do something at the top of the hill, we don't have to disturb this area again. And that's the way it was presented from day one. I believe I said that right along. I said it's a temporary haul road, but it will give us access to the top piece of this land all along.
Well, what was explained to me was, well, so this is, are we planning for future development? Sounds like you wanted,
Yes.
yes. So, okay, then, let's be clear about that. So thank you for clarifying.
We are.
So then I wouldn't call it a temporary road, right? If you're
Well, for
planning
this
on building a permanent thing that you're gonna use for phase 2,
Right.
then call it.
Sure, yeah, I have no problem.
I think that was what was said right from the get-go.
Yeah, I believe the abutters school attached have always said that that road would eventually be used if we do something at the top.
How much of that haul road is in the buffer zone?
Only a small section, I believe. I think it's just, you can see this section on the left-hand side here is within the buffer zone. And then this whole section up in the top portion is outside of buffer. And then it comes back in the buffer zone as we get closer to this northwestern or northeastern PVW system up there.
So, and we're only asking to pave up to here. So the rest would be left gravel and then we would re-loom and seed. We're gonna blast that whole area, so we don't have to blast it again later on.
Right, so that's my major concern. And Mr. Chair, I hate to be a little hardball. Tim?
Excuse me?
Sorry, I hate to be a little hardball, but, is there a conflict of interest on anybody on this board on this project?
Sure.
Oh, is there?
Why are you asking, Peter? Of course you know. Have I voted on it?
No, but you're participating in the discussion. And it's not an order of necessity that they're not other members. So, if you have a conflict with the planning board with this project or with this developer, I'm assuming that you have a conflict with this, and so there's a certain thing that you're supposed to do, right?
Okay, I'll abstain.
We haven't taken any votes or nothing. but it's
No,
not
but
future.
we're discussing it, and he's asking
I didn't ask
questions.
I can't ask questions about it?
No, you're not supposed to.
It's not my project. I'm just not supposed to vote on it, right?
No, I think you need, have you taken your recent,
You want to start playing games?
this game, I'm all for playing, yeah.
I'm abstaining from everything.
So,
Can we get back to talking about wetlands?
Yeah.
I don't care where the road goes up in the back, what your future plans are.
yeah, so.
My concern,
Yeah.
let's back up.
Yep, sure.
Taking a look, you supplied the cut sheet for that box culvert.
Yep,
And according to this plan, you've got approximately 38 feet of box culverts going in. That's going to be 8 feet wide.
Yep.
Over a stream that you're calling 4 to 6 max.
yeah,
There's a note that says excavation of footing shall be outside of wetlands and siltation barrier. No wetlands shall be disturbed by this product. You're gonna, the bottom of the stream, the center of the stream is elevation 407 plus or minus. Your detail shows you're gonna dig down 4 feet, to set the footing. An 8 foot wide, so the footing's 2 feet, so now a foot and a foot. It's gonna be a 6 foot. Stream, limit of wetlands is 4 to 6 feet. Can you explain to me how you're gonna dig down 4 feet in a wet area? Not disturb that?
Well,
I can do that.
so
That's what I'm interested in.
we'll probably have to put a piece of sheathing on both sides and dig along the sheathing to set the footings. That's what I would recommend doing. We will have to put a camera sheathing in on both sides.
Are you gonna use pontoons to put the machine in there?
No, I don't believe we'll need
I'd
to
like
do
to,
that.
I'd like to see
A construction plan for it?
construction.
Sure, I can get you that. So there would be no reason for pontoons. If you go out there and see that, there's no banks or anything to the stream. It's just basically when the water does overflow the top, you'll see some leaves that are moved, and that's kind of the area that was flagged. It was like that with the whole place. The stream that we replaced and planted is 20 times what the other wetland was. There was no channel or anything. It was just kind of overland flow across. And the only reason you could tell it was there would push the leaves. The leaves would be flipped on. So it's not, with the machine there, it's not a very wet area. It's only a skinny area like this big. It's solid on both sides. It's solid ledge actually on both sides of that. So I don't see where the machine would get into trouble there. I don't know if we would have to blast to do the footings. There is a possibility of that once we get into that area. Right, or pin it to the ledge. That's a pretty standard.
So
detail.
you're keeping us abreast of that. That's
Sure,
all.
I can,
That's why
yeah.
Like to-
Absolutely. I'll get you a construction plan for how we're gonna build that, and those are basic details. Once I order it from the company, they'll give me all the exact measurements and stuff and the structural stamp. Same thing with the wall. Those are basic details. When we go to construct the wall, I'll have to pull a building permit because it's over 4 feet high. At that time, we'll have all details of how the blocks get stacked. If there's any.
Well, this is gonna be a precast piece.
Yeah, so the walls are a block wall.
Well, your details showing a precast.
No, the box culvert is precast. The walls, the wing walls are, if you look up top, those blocks are what we'll be using for the wing walls. Those top ones.
Right. Like I said, it's gonna be a quarter foot.
It's a quarter-in-place footing for the box culvert. The wall only requires a 6-inch stone foundation for the blocks. That's the way that wall is. It's not a concrete footing for the blocks. It's just a crushed stone.
I'm talking about the color.
Oh, yeah, the culvert is quarter-in-place. Yeah, absolutely.
The wing walls are different.
Yeah, okay.
I'm focused on.
All right, yeah, no, that's all quarter-in-place.
You're gonna have 30 feet of that.
Yeah, 38 feet long, 8 feet wide.
Right.
Yep.
And you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. That
Yep.
means You're gonna have a machine there big enough to pick it up.
Yep.
And set it in.
Yep.
So, like I said, I wanna see the details, what you're gonna pick it up with,
Sure.
where it's gonna be sitting to set it in place.
Okay,
Okay?
you got it. Yeah,
All right, construction detail.
I'll get you. Yeah, so those are coming from Shea Concrete, and they'll do the structural, and I'll get the sequencing from them.
All right, so you want to continue on, or are you? Is
I
that the?
I mean,
overview?
yeah, I think I've explained this multiple times already. So the trees that Peter's talking about down here in the front and for screening for the neighbors across the street, this is elevated. We've shown a berm here to be built up to help protect the view of the parking area there, and big spruces. Then we have various other landscaping around the site. And in the stream bed that we replaced, of course, there's a planting plan for that that got it. So the stream bed will all be planted too with plants. I'm happy to
Yeah,
plant.
you guys have that, and I think that is also gonna be composed of about 20 trees, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 10 red maples and 10 black birches. That's also what's existing right now in the.
Is that based on what you're taking out of there to construct it?
It's just not, we're actually adding more than what we're constructing there, so I think there's only about 4 or 5 plants that were in there, and that was in the initial planting plan for what we had to do the DEP relocation of the stream the first time. So there's only a certain amount of plants in there, so now for this section, we're putting in a lot more than what was actually.
So that's in the stream area only. That's not in the whole area of the stream. I just wanted to, I didn't want you, that's just in the stream area. That's not in the buffer. Like,
We want the 1-to-1 basically, they done the 1-to-1.
Yeah. And I'm fine if you guys, Peter, if you want me to show some planting of some trees up on this bank.
Well,
fine.
let's look at that bank. So is that, what slope is that?
That's a 3-to-1 slope.
3-to-1
It might,
slope?
it might be less than that, because if it's ledge, then we won't have to blast that. We won't have to go, we can do a 1.5 or 1-to-1 slope. If it's ledge, you just do a ledge place. So if we do hit ledge back here, this will change and we won't disturb as much as this. This is if it's not ledge and we would have to grade it out. This is worst case scenario.
Right, so I'm assuming you're gonna run into ledge and you can artfully do it, it could look nice. I guess I'm concerned about the poor guy on the lawnmower. Or how is it gonna, I'm concerned with two guys. The guy in maintenance, more concerned is erosion before you get a good, grass turf on it.
So when we did,
That's a heck of a slope and there's a lot of it. And what, it's just gonna be sheet flow coming down? I don't
so
know.
when we did this, we did the slopes over here. We used jute mesh.
Yeah.
You know, the jute mesh.
Yeah, that's good
And then
stuff.
hydroseeded it, and it was pretty good. We didn't get much.
If you go out there right now, it's a lush green landscape, and also the erosion control sheets that we used had a seed mix within it too. So not only did we use the wetland seed mix that we put in the middle of the stream, the erosion control sheets also had a wildlife seed mix too that had grasses that sprout on the banks of the stream.
So I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit ledge here, so this will not look like this. This will probably be a ledge face close to the parking lot, and then we wouldn't even have to disturb that.
Well, so if you hit ledge, you can leave a steep wall
Yeah,
and you
we
don't
would.
have to take those trees out.
We don't have to take those trees.
Okay.
So that would be the base, actually, for what we're doing, that would be the best case scenario, because we would be able to leave more trees. But I can't draw it like that, because I don't know where the ledge is gonna be in that area.
Well, you can get a good idea just looking at the topo.
Oh, I know. I got a pretty good idea that we're gonna hit ledge there.
Take a look at the topos, you're not gonna have 3 feet of material sitting on.
No, I know that.
So, I see it.
And the
By looking at this, I see it because I'm in the business.
I know. I just, so I'm assuming that all of this is gonna be tight to the road with 1-to-1 slopes, and in the back here is gonna be tight to the road with 1-to-1 slopes.
Okay, so can we open it up to the audience? Good, so, anybody for this project would like to make a comment?
There's several of us here from the Lake Association. So if we could move across the street for just a second.
Yeah.
I assume going by there that you're going to have to do some blasting close to 16.
Yeah, so this is solid ledge right at the entrance. So that's one of the reasons for the haul road. We're assuming this hill's all ledge. And then this piece right behind this lower building here is a big, huge ledge outcrop. So the reason for the access road, so we could blast this side towards the front. And then the last thing we would do is blast this out in the front of 16. So we would blast this back section of ledge. We would haul the ledge out like this while we're working here. And then the last blast we will do would be blasting in this direction to get off of 16.
Just rough, what kind of an impact do you think that would make on the lake?
So, well, I'm hoping none. I think with our drainage,
How far away, excuse me, how far away is the entrance, where you're gonna blast at the entrance to the residents' actual houses?
I would guess it's about 75 feet. It's the width of the road and their front yards, which are probably 50 feet. So educated guess, 75 feet being surveyed.
So it's gonna be small.
Oh, yeah, so everybody's foundations, there'll be a blast survey, everybody's survey. I've already agreed to do testing on everybody's wells to see if there's any change in the groundwater. That's the best I can do. I don't know what else I can do.
Yep, so we have, are you all set? Is that, did you get?
Oh, sorry, just one other question.
Yeah, sure.
The removal of trees, I'm kind of concerned, because going by there, the trees are pretty thick. It just seems like it's a great natural barrier. I mean, removing that, what kind of an impact would that make on the lake?
Well, so we're matching so the trees soak up a certain amount of water, but that's all taken into consideration in the drainage analysis that's already been approved, been through Graves, the town consultant. So the pre and post drainage, the time and concentration that it takes for water to get to a certain point and the volume of the water has all been taken into account into the detention basin. So it'll only get released at the same speed as getting released to this bottom roughly now. So it shouldn't have any impact on the amount of water that's going. It will have a good impact that it will no longer be silt going in. So we're going to be removing, 84% of total suspended solids on the site. Before it was just running open down onto 16, down into the catch basins and right into the lake. So it's going to remove quite a bit of silt that will be going into the lake. So it should have a good impact on the lake, not a bad impact. Go ahead.
Okay, so do we have a question?
I just want, a letter was forwarded to Concom from the Lake Association. Is that seen?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Could we read it maybe?
Sure, would you like, is that a copy of it right there?
That's a copy of it.
Would you like to read it?
Should I read into the microphone?
Sure.
Yes, I haven't done it.
The Easement Association to the amended Conservation Commission. Dear board members, we are writing to voice our concern regarding the project at 4549 Uxbridge Road, NOI now DEP number 2180824. Public hearing of which is currently before the board as of March 24th, 2022. We believe you agree that Lake Nipmuc is one of our town's most important assets. The proposed project would, number one, eliminate a swath of trees that help purify and control water runoff. Two, create an impermeable road entrance / driveway on Route 16 connecting to a approximately 20,000 square foot impermeable parking lot. And three, significantly alter the landscape starting as close as approximately 250 feet from the nearest lakefront. In our view, the proposed development is a potential threat to the integrity of our already fragile lake. It would be upgradient from the lake, potential to both increase and thus filter the runoff, leading to increase in water level and pollution. Is this development worth the risk to harm the respect to yours, Lake Association?
Yes.
My rebuttal to that is that with the way the site was taken care of, with all the garbage that was up on the top of the hill, all the landscaping products, everything that was scattered everywhere. We've cleaned all that up. We're doing the proper drainage now that had no drainage before. Whatever water is getting into the lake is going to be cleaner than whatever was getting into it before. We've followed all our best management practices for the state. That's all calculated and designed to protect the lakes and the streams and the water. That's why we design and we do drainage studies and drainage reports. It's so that we don't have any impact.
Is any of the infiltration or drainage going to overflow?
Yeah, so it's the same. So this wetland here that feeds down like this to this lower wetland. It always went through. It crosses the culvert here and goes to the lake. So now we're collecting it, slowing it down, cleaning it, and then it'll go into this wetland. So
what's the condition of the existing pipe on Route 16?
It's, I don't know. I know across Karen's lot, it's horrible. I was gonna say. It's, you can see it in the yard like this, where the pieces are separated and broken. As everyone knows, Mass Highway is currently doing plans to redo all that strip, the drainage on that strip. I'm sure they've been in Karen's yard to look at it.
No, they haven't.
I'm surprised, but
What size pipe is that?
I believe it's a 12-inch concrete pipe, and it's, you can see it's only maybe 4 inches.
I'm sure.
4 inches.
Now, let me ask you, the calculations you did,
Yes.
you calculate the stream flow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A 12-inch capable of handling if it was a flow.
Well, we designed it pre and post the same amount. So yes, in a perfect world, yes, it would handle that amount of flow.
I'm asking you, did the calcs work out?
Yes.
To tell you that you need a 12-inch pipe, no matter what's there now.
So
I know what's there, but as we all know, it's not a 12-inch pipe.
So we've designed the size of the detention basin such that the 12-inch pipe handles the flow coming from our detention
That's
basin.
what I'm.
Yes, that's how that, you always design from the end point. Okay?
So whether or not that pipe is clean or not.
Right, it should handle it. But so that her pipe is terrible.
If the pipe's plugged up and you only have 4-inch.
The ends of the pipes,
That's not a 12-inch opening.
I'm gonna be honest, the ends of the pipes over here and the end of the pipe at this, both culverts, there's silt in the lake.
All sand.
Sand from 16. The catch basin, there's no cleaning of the water that's coming off 16 before it gets into the pond. And I've told the abutters, if they get it cleared, if they come in and file the paperwork, we can supply a machine to dig those, clean up that sand in those inlets. That's all I can offer. It's a state highway, so I can't do anything to the pipes in the road. I can't do anything, but I can, if they want to do the paperwork and get it clear, we'll supply a machine to go in and clean up the ends of those and get some of the silt.
Okay, thank you. Did you have a question?
I just don't understand how you're not gonna have more water going into that wetland, because you're removing all the trees, 1.5 fully wooded acres.
It's because so what we're doing now is we're storing the water in these underground chambers, right?
At the top of the hill.
No, down right here under the parking lot.
That's what I mean, that's
Yeah,
the top of the hill.
so we have storage for a 100-year storm event. And
Right.
when it fills up to a certain level, then it starts coming out. So it's controlled. It's not just
No, I
a complete
understand.
runoff. So you get infiltration into the ground under the chambers. You get the volume of the chambers. So it's just drainage calcs that it's all based on the time of concentration, how long it takes the water to get from one point to the other, and the amount of volume. And that's what we do. That's what.
But John, I understand that.
Yeah.
But what about the paved area?
Yeah, that's all taken into effect in the drainage calc.
In the lower part?
Yeah, so the very low part right at the end has 2 catch basins that go into a little settling pool here, a little separate basin, an above ground basin before it flows into the wet. So that takes care of that very low part down here.
Right,
So-
John, I think her broader question
Yeah.
is, you do all sorts of fancy engineering to runoff, the rate of runoff is going to be the same after. It is not the total volume. The total volume, by the time you take out trees and you don't have that uptake and you have it, yes, the rate is going to be the same, but my guess is there's going to be more volume. coming
No,
out of the system.
because the way DEP sets up their regulations, they take that into, because you tell it what kind of soil, whether it's wooded, and then you get a coefficient or a constant to use in your calcs that you're taking this area that's wooded and now you're taking the trees.
TR 55 or whatever, it's not DEP that does it, it's the engineering.
Right, but it's all been calculated that it was a wooded site and now we're not wooded site.
And that's all for the rate of runoff, it's not for the amount. But
It is for the amount too. It's rate and it's all, it's volume. Yeah, it's- absolutely. Checked all the calculations, they were revised once. It's all been approved from the town consultant, and we've tried to work with the abutters as best we can. We have to get a parking lot there. It's required. We need 47 parking spaces. This building has doors on the side. There's really no place else to put it for the lower buildings.
Well, let me just ask a question. It's not particularly Concom, but it's the size of the parking lot, which I think impacts everything. So when you say you need those 47, you would need those if they were going to be warehouses? Is there a difference?
It's listed on the plan. So there's.
Well, I'm seeing existing warehouse and contractor's yard, existing building and office and warehouse, and existing commercial warehouse units.
Yeah, so building D is auto repair, 32 spaces, contractor's yard or contractor's, like a garage door is 4 spaces. Building B is 7 spaces for warehouse, 4 spaces for contractor. Building A is 8 spaces and 3 spaces, but building B also has some parking off to the right up top, so it's only the bottom floor of parking we need there, it's total 47 spaces.
Right, and I'll just express it, I know it's not compound, but what gives you the right to use this build commercial parking lot in a zone that's zoned residential? I can see you have an existing grandfathered house, and we're not asking you to take down or not use the building that's, but to expand on an existing non-conforming use, I guess.
So we're in the
That's
general
why it's in
business
front
zone,
of-
200 feet back.
That's why he's in front of the board, so.
If
it's a pre-existing residential use.
It's a planning board or a ZBA?
It's planning, they're in front of planning board.
We're already,
That should have no bearing in this.
It doesn't, but,
Besides
it
the
doesn't, but
parking-
to answer your question, if it's pre-existing residential, it's pre-existing business as well.
Okay, so then,
So if there's not adequate parking for a structure, how are you gonna rent this, how are you gonna rent the building?
Yeah, Route 16, it's all zone.
it's commercially zoned, 200 feet
So
back.
pre-existing is pre-existing, that's all I'm saying.
I understand, so I have a pre-existing commercial building.
Right.
And if I had to build a parking lot.
You'd have to
I
go to
might
planning board.
Well, I had to go to ZBA and they limited me to what I could do in the upstairs of my barn.
But we are in the commercial zone with lot.
I was in the
We
commercial
can
zone too.
extend into the residential 30 feet.
Listen, that has no bearing on what we're doing here. We're talking about wetland issues. Let's concentrate on the wetlands
I'm
issue.
talking about the size of the park.
Amen.
Is there a way of,
Speaking of the parking lot, I have some questions that relate to the well. The drainage system is gonna be underneath it, correct?
Correct.
Have you done any test borings yet?
No, but we have to do test pits to get, well, so the biggest thing is it's a big fill. So there's no way we're gonna be anywhere near groundwater because it's a big fill. This is the valley where this is. This is the ledge on this side, this is the ledge on this side, and this is in the valley between. So that's why we haven't done testing yet, because it's coming up like 8 to 10 or 12.
So basically, you're involved.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So my question is, how much water is that bowl gonna take?
So there'll be 12 feet of fill. So I don't know that off the top of my head.
Run some color?
Sure, we can figure that out. Sure.
Forget it, you're gonna have a bowl.
Yeah,
So you're gonna.
yeah, so it's not a closed bowl.
Basically,
It's not a closed-in bowl though, because this is open on this side, it's a
Right.
valley.
what
It's a
I'm getting
valley.
at is, you
Yeah.
got ledge there.
Yeah,
Water will not go through ledge and
Right.
make some cracks.
Right.
So let's call it an impervious bog.
yep, with an opening on the side of the wells.
Right.
Right, which it is now, it's the same thing
No,
now.
I'm not arguing.
Right,
But what I'm getting at is, you said that a lot of this water can infiltrate.
no, I said some.
And it's gonna flow, we're
Yep.
gonna slow it down.
Yep.
My concern is, did anybody think about when that bowl gets full?
I said that, but this is designed as a detention basin, not an infiltration basin. So it's not designed to take infiltration into account with the numbers. It's designed as a detention. A detention basin. I did say that it would infiltrate some, which it will, but it's not designed as.
But you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes, absolutely.
So you didn't design it for infiltration?
No, we didn't design it.
Unless you put all crushed stone in there, whatever
Yeah, no,
material
we didn't.
you put in there, once it gets saturated, it's gonna turn to mush, no matter how much.
Right. So this isn't designed as an infiltration basin, it's designed as,
So,
That's all.
yep.
You have a question?
Yeah, just a basic question. How much of this work is in violation of the wetlands buffer laws?
So there's a table on there that has all the buffers on there.
total buffer disturbance, 64,295 square feet.
Yeah, so if you guys look on page 3 of 9 now, there's, Emily had asked us to put a chart on there of the different buffers and how much. So everybody needs to remember that this isn't a new construction, this isn't a new buildings that we're doing. It's pre-existing, we're doing the absolute best we can to bring it into somewhat of conformance.
I understand.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah.
So that bring it all out because obviously some people aren't gonna. don't think
Yeah, no, so on a limited project, you can cross wetlands, you can disturb buffer to get to your offline. This is how we would access our back piece, so this would be our limited project on this one site. You can only have one limited project on one site. This would be our limited project to get to.
Why would you be allowed to disturb the wetlands when there's a law against disturbing
They're not disturbing the wetlands, they're in the buffer zone.
We're in the buffer.
Not in the wetland.
And you can disturb up to 5,000 square feet of wetlands.
And there's no performance standards of buffer zone under the Wetland Protection Act as well. So they don't lay out performance standards at all, it's just.
So they're just close to the wetland.
Yeah.
They're within 100 feet, so that's why that's why.
That's all they're trying to make.
We're within 100, we're in 50, in some places we're within 25. So it's just-
Of the wetland.
I'm not trying to hide anything from you guys.
The buffer is 25 or greater.
100 feet.
100 feet. So
There's different buffers.
That's why
There's 25, no build, 50 feet.
Yeah, no touch is 25, right?
That's why we're here. We have to, if we're gonna do work in that buffer zone, or if we're gonna disturb wetlands, we have to file an NOI, notice of intent, with DEP and the Conservation Commission. And then that's why we're here. They issue us a number. Just because they issue a number doesn't mean they're not gonna have anything to say. They ask for the,
Wildlife
habitat. And they'll take another look at it. Once, if the board issues an order of conditions, they'll write an order of conditions that also gets sent to DEP, and they'll take a look at it and make sure they're okay with it. And DEP held up our number on the site because of the problems we already had, so they're looking very closely at the site. They've already told us that. So they'll also be reviewing everything once they get the order of conditions from the DEP. I want to plug in, Pat, is that all right? I'll let you guys.
Did, the, DEP.
Yeah.
Recommend a peer review of the wetland?
They did not.
They did not?
No, so Goddard Consulting is very well esteemed for flagging wetlands and doing. Scott's a graduate of MIT, he's got all kinds of certificates. They're a private firm. We don't have really any say of how they flag the wetlands or anything. They flag them. We send a survey company out to locate them. If I had any say in it, that 4-foot stream you would have never saw because it was just leaves that were like pushed like this. If you walked out there, you would never know it was a wetland. So they're the ones that flag it. Yeah,
Well, when it rains heavy.
Oh, yeah, no, it comes down. Yeah. But like if you went out there when it was dry, you would never know there was a connection.
You went out there today, you didn't look at the wetland, but
No, you're right.
it's very wet.
Yeah, it gets wet when this top overflows, there's a natural berm up here, and when it overflows, it flows down and flows down. And this collects the water from this hill over in this area.
So do we have any new questions? Okay, right behind your sheet. Oh, sure.
I'm just wondering, what's gonna happen with the existing paved driveway? And why can't you use that?
So the existing paved driveway is too steep for a legal road amendment. So we've put drainage at the bottom of it, we've put drainage in, plunge pools going down here, like a water quality swale. We've added drainage in the top parking lot that feeds into that water quality swale. So that's why you haven't seen Route 16 flooding a lot, is because we've done the drainage that we said we were gonna do with planning board on the top of the hill. What we could do out of the buffer, we've taken care of. So that's why 16 doesn't flood.
So it's too steep, so you can't legally use it?
Yeah, so we couldn't put a road to the back there because it's too steep. So we chose to come in this way where we have all this distance to do, it has to be less than 8%.
So
I mean,
what will happen with that then? With that existing?
That's just a driveway for the upper building. So this driveway will not connect to this. This is just temporary here. This is just the one we're doing the ledge here so we can get trucks out this way. And then once this is done, this will just be replanted, seeded, and be done. This won't be here anymore. So they won't be able to come in here and come out here anymore. There won't be a crossing across the stream here. That'll be the stream again. We're gonna put a pipe in just for the temporary crossing. And then when it's done, when they do the stream around the parking lot, that'll all get rebuilt.
I got a question. When you, it doesn't have to do with the left-hand side.
Okay,
It's got to do with the right-hand side, which you've already done.
Yep.
I had approached you before, when you were reconnecting that line, it was busted.
Yep.
That Jesse White had put in at the top of the parking lot.
Yeah, that overhead.
Right. Now, all that water comes down from the parking lot up there that you put in, goes into that drain.
Yeah.
And goes out into
the flood up here. Yeah.
Okay. Did they take in that water that goes into that, goes underneath Route 16?
Correct.
And goes into, it was an old railroad trestle there, and it fills that area.
Yeah, and then there's a head wall at this end of it. It goes to a drain manhole, and then goes to another drain manhole, and goes down between Lake Nimbunk
and goes into the lake.
The marina and the thing, and it goes into that's correct.
Since that, when you get a heavy rain
yeah,
from that parking lot now, it comes down that, it flows into that really fast. Goes in like what you're saying, and goes into that manhole. And I'm concerned with what was in that area, that when they do test, when we've done testing on the lake, that cove is always E. coli. And I'm wondering if that's cause for that. It has nothing to do with the project, but I know there's more water going in there. At the time, last year, we really didn't have a lot of rain, and then all of a sudden we had heavy downpours. I took that pond just to see how fast that comes in through. And I had access to some food coloring dye. And that was dry, and then we had a heavy rain. It came in really fast underneath Route 16, and it went really fast all the way out until that point. And I put it in, I took pictures of it.
Yeah, so if I may.
Yeah.
So on our site, we've slowed down the water. We've done plunge pools coming down the hill. Before that, all the way down over here, we've done multiple plunge pools before it empties into here. So before, this water was just rushing down into 16.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, and those two catch basins went to the same exact spot. So the water that went there went to the same spot.
Right.
We've slowed our section down, but you also have to remember, this is a big ravine here, so it also catches all that water too. And all that water flows to that culvert.
I've never seen it flow in until you really connected.
So, well, because it was just coming down and going on into the road.
But that road, that pipe goes into the lake.
Yeah. So these two catch basins here flow into this drain room. It's all the same system.
It all goes in.
The only thing that you have, which is a benefit of coming this way, it does go into kind of that natural basin between the tracks, and it fills that up and it slows it down some and helps it settle out. But we're taking care of our silt in this water quality swale here. So even though you're still getting the water, at least it's clean water and it's not all brown like it used to be.
Yeah, it's all brown.
Well, there's nothing, none of the road has anything to clean it. And they're gonna redo all that, right? So I had to supply Mass Highway, I supplied them with our site plan, so they know what our drainage does. I supplied them with all the dealerships, site plans, because they're redoing all the drainage. So hopefully they take care of the problems in that area when it's Mass Highway, we can't fix their problems.
But that where you would connected that through, that's the only drain that goes under Route 16 right there.
Yeah, but it's not just our water that gets. Yes.
I'm not saying it is.
Okay.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it has increased it since you opened that.
Right, and it should have, because that's where the water was supposed to go, and then it wasn't going there. Right, yeah.
The only time that drain clogs now is when debris catches that catch basin drain.
Oh, yeah,
off
down the
6
bottom,
feet, and the state comes through and opens it up. I realize that.
So I think we've made the situation better, at least in that point.
Yeah, I never realized that drain in that area
Yeah.
went through and went into that same line.
Yeah.
I thought it was just an area that, and there is wildlife in it.
It's pretty poorly designed.
Yeah.
For a road
Yeah.
system, but they're gonna fix it.
Okay, so do we have any new questions? Anything new or?
This is more of a comment than a question. I guess the wildlife study doesn't take into effect any, the bird wildlife, the trees, the habitat for birds, squirrels.
No, it does. So when you're going out there to look at it, you're going to look for birds and squirrels and large mammals like that. We're looking for large tree holes. And there's no large tree holes, and there's also no trees that are dead that are over 24 inches at diameter breast height. So trees that are fairly large that would house raccoons and maybe bats or something like that. So that did all come into effect there. Maybe bird habitat could be affected, but that's not necessarily under the wildlife habitat evaluation, just because birds can use any tree in the forest. And as I said before, they have a lot of upland and also wetland that's up here towards the north that they can use that will be not impacted during this project.
Well, I'm just praying that if, God forbid, this gets approved, which when the trees go down, it's not during prime nesting season.
So there is, we have 34 acres up here. We're gonna disturb 64,000 square feet. 34 acres. So
Approximately how many trees?
it's just the way they look at the wildlife habitat is that disturbing 60,000 out of 34 acres, a bird can land in a tree where it's not disturbed. That's the way they.
I'm talking about nests.
Yeah.
When they build nests, they have eggs, they have fledglings, these, starting in the end of April through like June, July, there's a nesting season for different species of birds.
So we're already in the end of May and we're not approved yet. And there's an appeal period, so we should be out of that by the time we decide to do anything, if we get it.
Yeah, you're talking about replanting trees, but there's no way these new trees are gonna.
No, and any development you do,
will be dead before they.
any new development has to touch it.
Yeah.
Our wildlife habitat standards that we put in through our wildlife biologists, it does meet the standards of the Wetland Protection Act. So we are meeting the standards for that.
I just have a quick, this is just a quick question. How does the process work from here? Once this application, you vote on it, then does it go to the DEP? Do they, you said because of some.
So they'll issue an order of conditions. The order of condition gets sent to DEP for them to review.
Now, are they gonna look at you more carefully because?
Absolutely. There is no doubt. They're already looking at it.
They've already looked, DEP already looked at it, they issued a number, and now it comes to us to review the whole project. They've already reviewed the project.
We were
The DEP.
we were 4 weeks later than the same projects that got submitted at the same time. And they actually called me and said, we're looking at this closely. It's going to be another few weeks before we issue a number. So they already were looking at it more closely because of the problem we had already with the stream. And now we're moving the end of it again. So yes, they've looked at this. They've been up there. They were up there for 2 years. They were inspecting the site for 2 years, and they were out there when we were doing the reconstruction of the stream. So they've been there. They've been on the site.
So who issues the final approval?
So my sense is if we vote to give them an order of conditions, you got 10 days to appeal them. If you don't appeal, I don't think they've already seen it. They would have written comments, hopefully, to submit to us. So probably they're not overcome our.
And that's not true because we did a project in Milford where we got our order of condition and then DEP.
It's going to
happen to anybody, Pete.
It's going to happen within 10 days, though, right?
Yes, they file the appeal. So once you send it in, and I know they're looking at this site. So once we send it in, they're going to look at it, and if they feel there's something to appeal, they'll. They already appealed one on us on a parking lot. We're still fighting with them on that one. That conservation issued us determination of applicability. The there was no riverfront on the site, and DEP came back and said, no, we feel there is riverfront, and they appealed. Now we're going through that process.
Thank you.
One more question.
Is this building D that's existing?
Yeah.
The garages?
Yes.
It doesn't look like the last, plan you had.
This one?
Yeah.
It should be the same. That means, show me over here. Yeah.
The garages are a long strip like that. They don't have this additional.
No, that's just inside, there's a change in elevation. Inside the building. It's a second, upper level.
Yeah.
That's all that. So the garage is. All right.
And this, how many feet are you talking?
That's actually to the crossing.
Well, this is where you're gonna, this,
Crossing is here.
you're gonna pave it.
Yeah.
Okay, so from here, the water is gonna go on either side.
No, so we gotta catch these.
And did you have a question? I see a hand
I
up.
do have a question. Well, a comment. One is that in the bylaws, trees are required in the parking lot. Every 15 spaces has to have one shade tree of at least 2 caliper width. So I can't tell from here, but if that's not included, that should be included. And the other thing is that we did pass all the low impact development bylaws, and the erosion control should be like natural vegetation. So any of the trees that can be kept should be kept instead of clear cutting like's already been done on that property.
Yeah, we haven't got into that
The
yet.
question, well, the question was, I asked a question for trees, and she's reminding us that the planning board requires trees for X amount of 15 spaces, so those
Yeah,
are
so-
the trees in front or something, or?
Yeah, so this will be fully landscaped around the parking lot. I can come back with a better plan showing where we want, if.
But you submitted a planting.
Yeah, we did a landscaping plan. that's
Has
already-
Ray's reviewed that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you submitted a landscaping plan, but we didn't see it. This is
Yeah,
the
it's
lands-
in the set.
Okay, and so I don't see trees around the parking lot. That's the one I was looking to, and I was counting the 4 pines
It's
in
a
front.
planning board, it's a planning board regulation. For the number of spaces.
Yes.
Calculation, but.
Yeah, so we have parking in the front, we have trees on the side, trees on the side, trees in an island. I don't show anything in the black because it's probably gonna be solid ledge base, so I didn't show planting behind. And that's where the stream is, there's gonna be plantings in the stream bed anyway.
Has Ray finished his review?
Oh, yeah, this is all approved by the planning board. This was approved two years ago for the planning board. Graves already did a full review of the drainage analysis
And the
and everything.
plantings, we got a
And-
number of spaces.
Yeah,
for
so-
replacement.
So we got approved 1 week, we were gonna submit the following week conservation, and then we got the cease and desist. We got tied up with DEP, and we were 2 years getting through that process with DEP, mostly because of COVID, they didn't work for a whole year. And then it was a year going back and forth. And finally, once we got approved with our stream plan, we did the stream work, and they were, so yeah, this has been approved.
Okay, so it's getting kind of late. So we need, you want a construction sequence, you mentioned, for the culvert? Okay. Yeah,
I guess in response to
we're gonna
that,
continue this.
whatever you can have for more detail for landscaping.
Sure, I can-
Close to, I don't know, just showing that you put more trees where you're taking them out.
I can, you want me to do, I can do the grading to show a 1-to-1 slope to see what it would look like, if you just want to see it.
No, that I appreciate. That's the real game, is to save the trees that are prepared. I guess,
You know, so I think.
assume the worst case scenario, but can we oomph the planting plan a little bit?
Okay, sure, we can. I have no problem. We'll add some
I have
trees.
just a quick closing comment, not question so much. Have you looked at the urban filters? Maybe to put onto the catch basins that are on the site just before it drains off into the,
The silt sacks?
Well, no, it's, look it up, it's an urban filter. It reflects microplastics and everything else, and it comes off the tires.
No, I haven't even heard of that.
Check that out, yeah.
Okay, we'll
Maybe
do that.
consider, before it's a particular.
Sure.
What about the lighting in the parking lot?
That's all,
So,
that's all planning board stuff. Lighting, they're not allowed to cast, so you know, they're not allowed to cast light off their property. So that's a regulation with planning board. They supply the lighting plan, and that's all in the planning board document.
So
Have you
what's-
gone to, excuse me,
oh,
Have you gone to the planning board meetings on this? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's sheets in those, plan sets that show the lighting schedule, and it shows everything that's a regulation for planning regulations. Every sheet addresses what the regulations are, and you can get a copy of it if you want, anything like that, it's public information. But that's all planning board stuff, we don't,
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in.
yeah. So, sure.
I have just one question for John.
Yeah,
I was at the original meeting when you displayed all this, and I had the understanding, when the old road goes up to the warehouse up there, that you're going to put a row of trees there. But no trees have ever come there. All there is rock. So we see this warehouse with two blazing lights all night long.
You're still seeing those lights?
We're still seeing those lights.
Like I have a shade on that light. It's the light on the building, correct?
Two
Two
lights.
lights on the building, and they're shaded down about a foot. It's because of and I've said it before, it's because of the change in the elevation where you're looking up and so you're seeing the bulbs.
Well, now we have another light on the back of the marina. That's a new light.
So there's probably a bulb in it.
Is the light shining in your windows?
No, they can see it.
Right
Because they're below
Right
it.
down on the lake.
Yeah.
So they look up, they can see the light on the building.
Not supposed to cast off, probably.
The light is not casting off the property, but if you put a bulb 500 feet away up above you, you're gonna still see a bulb. But that doesn't mean the light is going beyond the
No, I
property.
get it, but if it's lighting up their property, it's not
So I've already changed the shade at least twice, but I can try again. I can try to have them fabricate something that kind of comes under it, so the light is more cast on the building. That's all I can do. I can keep
Is
trying.
that a misunderstanding that you wanted to plant a row of trees there?
The
back.
Where is that? Along the front edge here?
Right up in front of the building, you have rocks here now.
That hill of rocks.
Yeah, so
We
you saying, so along this chain link or something?
I thought right up here behind this building.
No, so this is the top of the slope.
Oh, okay.
So I can see if we can do something.
No.
Yeah, so I'm gonna come back with an updated landscape plan. I'll put some plans.
Okay.
So John, we have to move on.
Okay, yeah.
So, are you in agreement for a continuance?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So
All in favor?
Ready for the next meeting or?
Carl?
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, boy.
Let's give them a date.
So,
Next meeting.
so when do you think we can supply that stuff?
I'll have it for the next meeting.
Oh, tonight?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody, June 9th, will be there.
Take your time.
You're welcome. Appreciate everything. Is anybody?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, let's come back to.
I'll come over, yeah, I didn't do anything to go, but I know that. I'll write it down.
So.
That's right.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
so that's also here. If you look at the maps for the road, I think it was revised today for the agendas.
Okay, so, right after.
Yeah. All right, I will.
Yeah, it is.
This is no polls in front of us, right?
I do have one administrative, piece of business that has to do with, permit extension. Before this.
Is that for the road?
Yeah. And that is an extension permit, all it needs is your.
Okay, so it's an extension for the order of conditions for the road. So.
All seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor? Extend the order of conditions for the road, Carl?
Aye.
You've already voted.
Oh,
Oh, that's just good.
it was the QAQC group.
I take it back.
They have best lots.
Go ahead. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, this is just another one of the house lots in the development, Misco Springs. And just to give you a little context, the last culvert that we put in was right here. Okay, this is the one that, this is the most recent paved section of roadway in the project. The address for this obviously is Tyler. We have our driveway coming out to Tyler. It's a 4-bedroom, single-family house. And we have a septic system here where we found suitable soils. And septic is about 129 feet away from the property line at that point.
That looks like a large lot. How big is that lot?
It's a little oversized, not too much, 62,000. Yeah, 20 scale.
Big house. Is that the actual lot?
Yeah, that's the actual house that you see.
It's
there.
20 scale, you say.
Yeah. Yeah, 20 scale, so everything looks bigger than the 40s that you've been looking at all night. We have a well going in behind the house over here. And we've shown a limited of disturbance around the back and stake siltation barrier that comes right around, goes right to the road and goes beyond the 100-foot buffer zone, which is this line right here, 100-foot buffer. So it's really grading that's in the buffer zone. Everything else, the septic, the house, the well is outside of the buffer. Okay.
Maybe just a little more protection on the well, like we usually like a little sump.
Well, around the well, if you could just put that.
Yeah, yeah.
Outside of the buffer.
Absolutely.
But it finds the buffer.
That clay just.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many bedrooms? are
4.
there? There's a pool in the future.
Well, I suppose that you could put a pool in the backyard. That would have to be added to the permit.
Say in the future, well, living there, they say, hey, you the pool, is it possible to put a pool in?
It's possible. It's possible. It's we do have some fill behind this house.
Sure.
It's very ledgy, so a lot of times if somebody wants a pool, they find out that it's going to be a little more expensive than they thought. You know, we're still in that ledgy section of roadway here. But that's pretty much it. We show the limited of disturbance here and the siltation barrier. And we're a good long ways away.
What's the total
structures?
What's the total like on toward the, is it down the bottom, is it down gradient?
It goes down gradient this way and a little bit this way, but this stream is so narrow. It's fairly deeply cut, especially from the lot 65 direction. It's more gradually, you can see the contour here. We've got the shape of the swale just over the years of water going through this valley. But this contour goes just like this. So it's very flat this way, and it goes down towards Locust Hill.
I'll make a motion to approve the system as designed with the addition of a little protection around the well.
Second.
All in favor?
I looked at it.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, could you? Yep. Could you sign that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Right.
Will I be able to pick that with me? That should really.
We just need a copy of it. Okay. If you could shoot us a copy on the copy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Is that your project?
This is that one, okay.
All right, so I'm going to recuse myself from this because I know this, I'm friendly with the owner. This is the fireplace shop.
Yeah.
I'm going to recuse myself from this. This is a, he's putting an addition on his building and he asked me a bunch of questions. I buy my pellets there. I don't.
So where is this? It's
Route 16.
You want to step up to the chair? All right. So is this on our agenda or this came in late?
149, Uxbridge Road. sir.
Yes, pretty much road. Side of business of, road fireside.
Your business card?
I don't.
I see Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret's on, is the owner.
I'm here.
As needed. So I'll start my presentation, if that's all right. Good evening, for the record, my name is Brad Vecchione with Summit Engineering, representing Davies Realty LLC, for the project at 159 Oxford Road. We are proposing a 4,600 square foot commercial building, as well as an extension to the existing paved area for the driveway that connects to 149, or that connects to Oxford Road, and a new septic system. The building and extension to the parking area will be within the 100 to 200 foot buffer or riverfront area of Rock Meadow Brook. No construction activity will take place within 100 feet of Rock Meadow Brook. Yes, 218-0822.
We have plans, and you submit 2 plans to us?
Submitted plans.
I uploaded them into the SharePoint, but
Hot copies?
not. I don't have
First thing you're gonna do is get us hot copies.
Okay. Do that.
Nice though.
Hot copies of them.
Okay. Do that. So the proposed construction activities being the paved driveway in front of the road are in the 100 foot riverfront area, taking up an area of roughly 800 square feet. That area was previously disturbed as determined by soil testing done at the start of the project. The proposed septic system will be entirely outside of the riverfront and any on-site wetland areas. The stormwater runoff for the driveway will connect directly, or will be directed directly to the existing riprap stormwater basin in the front of the property shown here. So down the edge of the road there. The runoff off of the roof being cleaner is going to run into a rainwater garden that will be constructed as the project is done.
So all water comes towards Route 16?
Yes, so the water goes towards Route 16. On the driveway, it goes towards Route 16, and the driveway will be graded such that it is directed into a riprap basin that is on the property already.
Okay.
The water off of the building will go into a rainwater garden, and then that will be filled. Yes, this is the new building here. This is existing. There's a little bit of a connection right there.
Okay. That's parking lot, great.
This is the proposed parking lot, the darker gray. The lighter gray here is existing parking.
I see why we like hot copies.
Yeah.
And the blue is your well or?
Blue is our well area. That's more to show that the septic system isn't within the well. It's an existing well. It's not going to move.
I'm not able to see the diagram very well. Is there going to be a new driveway coming out of Route 16, or are you using the existing access and just going over to another parking lot?
There is going to be a new driveway. So if this is our existing building, to the left of it, depending on Route 16, is going to be the new building. To the left of that building, there will be a driveway that runs up and a more, a slightly wider parking area.
Okay, so new building, new parking lot, new driveway.
Yeah, existing septic system.
The existing septic system is right here. So we're going to be more conforming. We're not going to be within that.
So you're going to abandon the existing?
Yes, the existing septic tank is right here, which is where we're putting the new septic tank. So that'll be crushed in place.
Ask the previous applicant, I suppose I should ask the same question. You're building a parking lot, so are there gonna be some trees planted?
Currently, this is disturbed. There's no trees there at the moment. I believe we have, we have one proposed 4-inch tree right on the corner. Again, I'm sorry, we don't have hard copies, so you can see this closer. You're welcome to pass this around if you'd rather.
Okay, well, how many parking spaces are you creating? Good.
It looks to me like 9 parking spaces worth of pavement being put in. There's a few more that are being delineated, but they're already there.
Okay, I'm just being educated, but it sounds like you're supposed to provide a new tree for each 7. So if you could find your way of planting 2 nice trees somewhere around.
Yeah, so we got the one proposed. We can look for a place to put in another one.
Dark pavement.
Where would we find that?
That's
in the planning board
Site
regulations.
plan review.
Planning board regulations. You didn't have to go before the planning. Board.
This is an addition.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, that's
Yeah,
why.
it did go in front of planning board.
Oh, it did go on.
I didn't do that personally, so I can't speak to that meeting, but.
Yeah, if you don't mind, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, this one before this, the planning board back in, I think it was early this year, and was approved. And then we didn't realize, we filed with the Conservation Commission later because we forgot about the Rock Meadow Brook, which is across the street. We didn't really pay attention to that until after the fact and realized that triggers the 200-foot riverfront, because we were worried about the wetlands in the back next to where we're putting the septic. So those were the only wetlands we really thought we had any to be concerned about, was up in the back by the septic. It wasn't until kind of after the fact we realized across the street there's that perennial stream. So there's only a small part of the project that is within the 200-foot riverfront. And this whole site has been previously disturbed. And there is a new driveway that is going to come out onto Route 16, but there's also an existing gravel driveway there right now that cuts in and cuts over to the gentleman's business that repairs lawnmowers. So that's going to be replaced with a new driveway going into the new building. And then, like I said, we're doing the best we can with stormwater. We're kind of limited on what you can do, but a lot of the water on that site, there's just a slight grade that all flows towards Route 16, and that's why you have that existing fairly good-sized stoned basin right up in the front that's there now that pretty much accommodates all that runoff. So we're utilizing that along with the rain guard and plantings to accommodate the roof runoff. Try to keep those separate, like Brad was saying. The roof runoff is clean and driveways are typically dirtier. So you try to keep them separated if you can. And roof runoff goes into the rain guard, and you try to recharge as much as you can with the type of soils we have there. And then the overflow will then dump into that big stone line basin that's already there now. So we try to utilize what's already on site as best we could. Don't have a whole lot of options there.
Carl, do you have any questions?
No.
Second.
Maybe second. You okay with this? Any questions?
No, I looked it up.
All right, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Yes.
Sure you don't have,
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, now on to what everyone's been waiting for, the Beaver discussion. You want to do this?
Okay.
Hey, Tim,
This is the property.
this is, Rick Nipmuc, the water and wetlands contract for the lake water treatment.
Oh, that's just.
It's gotta be signed,
No, we have this.
it's gotta be signed by one of us. Whoever wants to sign it.
No chair.
I don't wait, Pete.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you.
Like, there's copies of the.
Yeah.
So what's left on the agenda?
Right?
Yes, who wants to speak to this? Ann, do you want to speak to the
Yeah,
Beaver?
yes. So this is in the town forest, and there's a beaver dam, and it's flooding into a trail and a historic culvert that was built in the 1800s. And it also, when it rains hard, it floods into the neighbor's yard. And so we had the Beaver Solution people come and look at it, and they said that it's in the right location to have a device put in so that the water will flow. And we got an estimate for $2,609, and the New England Mountain Bike Association is giving us $500 towards the project, and I'm writing a grant for another $1,000. And so what I'd like to ask from the Beaver Management Fund that you have, and you have $5,000 in it, is $1,109.
Figure again?
1,000.
$1,109.
When will you find out whether the grant proposal is accepted?
I'm not sure, but I just sent an email today just saying, oh, did you receive the proposal, and what's your timeline? So hopefully I'll hear back soon.
No, this is not a.
If the grant is not given, would we be asked to fund another 1,000?
There is a
Possibly.
converter already that Mike Salvador paid for 4 or 5 years ago, upstream a little bit, that was maintained and cleaned recently. I did talk to Mike Salvador because he had problems there with water wrecking his trees. He says it is starting to climb up through there again. Last time he got in trouble when he went in there and knocked down the beaver there. But as of right now, and we have time, because you and I talked about this, there is not an emergency situation right now, but we do need to move forward. And if you can get these grants, then we can probably make that decision at that time. Does that sound fair or no?
I'd rather get the approval from here, because then if I get the grant, we can move forward, because we want to have the device in before there's a heavy rainfall, and then there'll be a problem. We're trying, would like to prevent the problem and not have it be an emergency. And so
I understand that. We don't know how much money you're getting. How can we approve any money?
Well, I'm hoping that I will get another 1,000. I have 500, and so I
So
just
we approved
whatever.
1109, that's good for you?
Yes, at this time, yes. I mean, I might be back for more, but hopefully not. I think we have a good chance of getting
Well,
the
not in
grant.
a situation, why don't we do it once?
Here's what I'd like to do.
Beavers are cute.
We have 5,000 in this year's budget.
Correct.
The end of the year is coming up in a month and 2 days.
Right.
All right. I'd like to get it, whatever the amount we okay, out of this budget, so that $5,000 doesn't disappear and it hits, it takes out of the other.
Right, because then we don't use it, right. At least if we use some of it.
Right, and then July 1st, we get.
Does that 5,000 get pulled?
No, I think it gets we get reallocated, especially where we have such a problem with beavers in this town.
I
So
believe.
new 5,000 would come in each year.
It doesn't accumulate.
No, but it stays 5,000, all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of.
So then it sounds like a motion for that 1109, subject to,
Right.
Subject to getting it done before July 1st.
well, there you go.
That work for you, Ann?
Yes, that would be great.
Mike's made a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Well, the motion says that we want to do this before July 1st. It doesn't happen before July 1st, we revisit it with new money for the.
If you encumber
23
something, you don't have to do the work, do you? You have to sign the contract.
You can encumber the funds. They can encumber the funds. Yep.
All right.
All right, so just, yeah, keep us in the loop, Ann.
Okay, did you say that the work has to be complete or the contract signed?
Signed.
Funds need.
This money, this $1,109 is gonna come out of the FY 22 budget, which ends July 1st, and then we start FY 23. My motion says to take it out of the FY 22. If it doesn't happen, then it's gonna come before us again
For 23.
for 23, and we re-vote it.
So am I interpreting that you need the contract before that so that we can pay the contract before July 1st?
So we can encumber the funds out of this budget,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, what else we got? 29 Howard Street, did we do that or?
Briefly
No,
discussed.
so we started talking about that.
Oh, we waited for you.
David was, yeah, but David, you
No, I've
know
been
about
involved,
that,
I
right?
mean, I've been involved in it a little bit.
I know the building inspector is too.
Yeah, the building inspector and my brother have been up there. What we're trying to do is get wetlands delineated on the property next to it. The guy is running a contractor's yard out of it. It's terrible. But I think they're waiting for some more stuff to go on with zoning and building before we move any further.
Well, you could spend money, but in my sense, it's any one of us, we kind of recognize a wetland. So you go to the farthest guy, and it's there, the snow cabin.
Problem is,
You can't walk
problem is, yeah.
No, but down the neighbor's property.
No,
that's
no, what
not-
I'm saying is you can't see where he's got it mounted up and everything.
Oh, you don't have
That
to.
is not the case.
Fine,
The
Rick.
berm does
Kyle was
not,
there. Kyle went on the sidewalk with Lonnie.
the berm does not block visibility from a wetlands area into his yard. He's got only a berm going in a straight line. He doesn't make a right angle and block access to his cleared area from the back.
So we can get in there.
You can, your eyeballs can get in there. You can walk right up to the border between the two lots and see into his backyard.
Is he digging in the wetland, Kyle? Or do you know?
We're not even sure if there's a wetland.
There's no, he has been doing clearing in his yard. It is probable that the clearing work he has done is within 100 yards of a wetland, but we need someone to flag the wetland in the neighbor and then get a tape measure and say,
Well, listen, if we think there's a wetland there, and we tell them to cease and desist, the onus is on him to prove to us he's not filling in the wetland. So why are we looking to flag the wetlands? Let's send them a stop and desist.
We're looking to make him. pay
Right,
that.
so we send them a stop and desist.
But this has been
And then
going
he's
on.
gotta, right,
He's already
stopped him to see.
He's gonna criminally charged. He's on probation. Like he could actually get, if they're gonna try to do is take him back into court and say that he violated his probation.
But all work we have to do is add fuels to the fire, so we can throw on another one, that he's doing the work within a buffer, right? So in order to do that, you don't need a formal delineation, you just need to assert that this is the wetland and.
we got a complaint. We think it's still in the buffer, in the buffer zone, or the wetland. The onus immediately goes to him to prove that he's not.
I'd prefer if someone more experienced than me at eyeballing wetlands and distances were to go out and do a site visit. The neighbor is more than willing to have anyone go out and talk their ear off about his problems and to do with that kind of evaluation.
Hey.
See if I can get out there.
Alfred Audi, you know him?
He's the above.
That's a familiar name.
I know, see. That he lives next door, he's losing his mind.
Yes, he is losing his mind.
I've Mary Ann's ex-husband?
Yes.
Oh, he's still in the house?
All right, what else we got?
85 Millville, open space encroachment, follow-up discussion.
That's,
That might be right.
that's,
That's a volleyball court?
yeah, I went over there. I mean,
We sent a letter, correct?
she called.
That's
me, I
right, we
talked to
did,
her
yep.
multiple times. There's
And
no
the letter was
volleyball,
received.
volleyball court's tied to the tree that's on her property.
Is this where they filled all that land?
No. There's rhododendrons that were, the rhododendrons, that she thought were the buffers was the lot line. She's been mowing this since, Cochran's old house years ago. So Henry Cochran, was that, I think it's not, but there was, I mean, maybe it's very, very little.
What, so.
Every once in a while, they play volleyball there, and then she cuts the grass.
And it's on town land.
Oh.
But you can do passive recreation, so you can kick a ball on that land, you just can't have a permanent, she puts up the volleyball.
Is it under,
You're not supposed to
is the
mow.
land under conservation?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's open space.
Yeah, you're not supposed to mow it, I told her not to mow it.
Her house is carved out of the Meadowbrook Uplands Conservation Area.
So there's like you can see where the grave stake is.
She's not supposed to cut the grass.
It's not supposed to cut the grass.
Have you looked at it?
I went by there the other day and I talked to her.
Yeah.
You know, I said, I don't know, maybe you find the lot line and I guess somebody had told her.
Who's complaining?
The
And-
Nighthawks, but Teresa's doing all the open space and.
Yeah, they sent a letter. We approved the letter. We sent it out, so she called.
With a copy of the report, so she knows, so
She realized
the.
that wasn't it.
So the landowner
Go ahead, Ann. Go ahead.
Yeah, she got the letter and the report. And so, Damon, did you ask her not to mow the lawn on the open space?
I told her not to mow it until we talked about, I mean, I went over there and looked, it's about this big of an area, maybe.
Right. So did she say she's not gonna mow it now?
Yeah, I mean, I told her she can go over there and kick a ball on it. We let people ride
Right.
bikes on the town land, right?
She can do that, but just not mow it. So just let the grass grow.
You can't take care of it, right?
Yeah, she can't maintain it.
Otherwise she.
Because it's part of her grass.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been her grass for, she's been mowing it
Yep.
however long she's been living there.
But it's town property.
Then now she knows, now she's like, okay, now I can't do that anymore.
Okay.
What's the penalty?
I don't know, do we have a fine? Is there a fine or?
I don't really know. I mean, that's Conservation Commission.
I sure.
We're telling someone not to do something. Okay? I'm all done dealing with this. If there's no penalty, all we can do is say, please don't cut
I know when I told her to do it, I said, you know what, maybe you know where the lot line is? If you, she's like, there's a tree that fell down on the other side of the rhododendron. She goes, if that was before this all went down, I'd have somebody clean the tree. She goes, but now I can't go there, I don't wanna get in trouble. So I'm just gonna go, well, you just leave it, it's not your property, not your problem. But I said, you can't mow it anymore, so she's on vacation, that's why she's not here. So she's gonna call me when she gets back. I just told her,
I mean, what the town can do is put a fence up. Pond Street has a fence on their end, but that's a waste of the town money. It'd be better if you just stopped mowing.
Yeah, that's what I told her that, so hopefully everything will work out.
How about little tiny signs like in the other conservation areas?
Yeah, the problem is, there's nothing to hang them on. You'd have to put them on, you'd have to put posts. I mean, I think that if you just tell her not to mow it, maybe she'll put some trees up to just turn, to distinguish her lot line against, I don't know.
You've talked to her not to mow it.
I just told her not to mow it.
If we have another complaint, then maybe we put a sign.
I think she's more than accommodating. She just was kind of.
I think Carl's idea is good. Maybe we can put a sign, not like on the lawn, but by the tree that's by the road.
Okay.
It's like a sign that says "Stay off private property" and it faces the open space. But we're really trying to have people.
Oh, to stay off their property, you mean?
Yeah, so like if somebody decided they wanted to hike through that way, then they,
We don't have a problem with people going on her property. We have a problem with her mowing it. So I think the sign, I don't know, the sign might defeat the
I
purpose.
think you told them not to mow it. Let's see what happens.
All right, Tom.
Every year, they go out there and look at it. We'll see what happens next year.
Okay.
If next year
That's
we have to
right.
detour again, then I think we get,
Also, the town council sent her a letter.
right. But
Is-
in the
is
meantime, people should
Going
be
out
thinking
every year,
about
going
Well,
out
like
every
little
year, is that
kids.
something we
if
do
you
or
say,
something
"Don't do
Metacomet does?
that," No penalty.
That's something that Metacomet does.
All right, so
They
we.
monitor the property, you know, the
It's not an
conservation
issue.
restriction.
Yeah, done.
Until there's a penalty.
That's kind of close.
Well,
Well,
Carl and Ann have discussion, but that's all right.
We all,
Yeah,
you all good, Ed?
Yeah, we got crosstalk because sometimes the mic in your room cuts out. Metacomet goes out every year and looks at the conservation restrictions, so they will be able to tell us whether our request to not mow has been effective or not. My recommendation is if Metacomet comes back and says that there's still an issue, that the town work with the homeowner to determine where the lot line is, and then we put up little signs and encourage her to put plants or some other way of demarking her property from the town property.
Sounds like a plan, Carl, so we'll wait to see next.
Yeah, I don't want to make this entirely her problem, because if there's confusion about where the line is, the town conservation commission is responsible for the town property to participate in letting her know exactly where the property line is.
Just to add to that, actually, she knows where the line is because they marked it with like stakes with, you know, the orange flags on it. So she knows exactly, or they know exactly where the line is. And they took the stakes out, but the iron pins are still in there. So we'll see, like you said, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
So if she continues to do it, let's have town council send it.
Okay.
Yeah. Next time we say it won't be just iron stakes, it'll be little signs.
That's nothing going on with that.
Yield replacement fill, we don't need that.
That's nothing on, there's nothing going on with that. We're still waiting for that train wreck to get taken care of.
All right, a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say bye-bye.
Bye. How do you shut this
Bye.
off?
I have the remote.
Oh.
I'll come up and do it. I'm still down here.